Chapter 1 Divorce. Yi Tiance quickly signed the divorce agreement prepared by President Xiao. Yi family cemetery. Assistant Sun, wearing a professional skirt, rushed over and threw the divorce agreement to the young man with extraordinary appearance in front of the tomb. Yi Tiance frowned slightly and asked, "Divorce? Why?" Assistant Sun sneered, "Huh? Why don't you know what's going on? Our CEO Xiao is the most dazzling female CEO in Jiangnan City at the moment, worth hundreds of millions, a top figure in the pyramid with countless suitors. Look at you again, you have nothing but a beautiful body, no money, no skills, and you are a blood-sucking worm that relies on Mr. Xiao. Do you think you are worthy of this marriage?" Yi Tiance raised his eyebrows and said, "Blood-sucking worms, does Xiao Qingcheng really think so?" Assistant Sun nodded and added mercilessly, "Except for you who is not self-aware, everyone around Mr. Xiao thinks so." Yi Tiance lowered his eyes slightly. 3 years ago, he returned to Jiangnan City from that place to fulfill the marriage contract that his grandfather had made with the Xiao family. At that time, the Xiao family was in a desperate situation and on the verge of collapse. It was he who secretly supported the Xiao family and made Xiao Qingcheng the most dazzling beauty president in Jiangnan City. In the end, it was exchanged for a divorce agreement. Assistant Sun continued, "As divorce compensation, Ms. Xiao promised to give you 10 million. You owe Ms. Xiao so much in this marriage, but she has been so kind to you. You should learn to be grateful. Sign the contract quickly." Yi Tiance's tone turned cold. "You want me to be grateful to her? Tell Xiao Qingcheng that if she wants me to sign, she can ask her to come and talk to me." Assistant Sun frowned and said, "What is Mr. Xiao's status? Can a loser like you meet him whenever you want? Ms. Xiao has worked hard to get to where she is today. With her status and position, she has countless ways to divorce you. She has already considered your feelings by letting me find you in private. Don't be so arrogant." Yi Tiance's cold eyes flickered as he said, "Oh. In her opinion, choosing the anniversary of the death of my family of 8, asking for a divorce in front of their graves, and asking you to laugh at me to your heart's content, is that considering my feelings? Huh? Mr. Xiao is worthy of being in a high position for so long. Even his way of considering other people's feelings is so unique." Quote, "That's right, today is the death anniversary of Yi Tiance's family of 8. In order to file for a divorce, Xiao Qingcheng actually entrusted someone else and chose today to go to the Yi family cemetery. How ironic. Just at this moment, in the distance, a beautiful woman with a cold look and a great figure, holding a bouquet of flowers in her hand, walked towards them quickly. She placed the flowers in front of one of the graves and said softly, 'Grandpa Yi, something happened and I was late to see you.'" Looking at the cold woman in front of his grandfather's grave, Yi Tiance felt mixed emotions. Because the grandfathers of both parties were good friends, he and Xiao Qingcheng were engaged since they were young. But 15 years ago, the Yi family was hit by a sudden fire. Except for himself, who was lucky enough to be rescued by his master and escape from Jiangnan City, the rest of his family members were buried in the fire. It was Mr. Xiao who helped take care of his family's funeral affairs, and his kindness was indeed great. 3 years ago, he returned to Jiangnan City to fulfill his engagement. Fearing that he would put pressure on Xiao Qingcheng, he lived with her as an ordinary person and secretly helped the Xiao family. He had originally planned to order the Tianlong group to hold a bidding conference tomorrow night, announcing that the Xiao family was the only successful bidder for the new district development project, and had obtained an order worth 10 billion yuan, which would push Xiao Qingcheng to the top of Jiangnan City in one fell swoop. And at that time, he would no longer have to hide his identity and tell Xiao Qingcheng everything. But the day before, Xiao Qingcheng walked up to Yi Tiance. With his usual indifferent expression, he said, "I heard everything you said just now. I ignored your feelings by choosing this time and this place to file for divorce. I was really too busy to remember this, so I asked Assistant Sun." Yi Tiance raised his hand to interrupt. "Yes, Mr. Xiao even had to entrust someone else to file for divorce. Of course he is busy to the point of being almost ruthless." Xiao Qingcheng could hear his complaints. But she believes she is not wrong, because she is busy preparing for the bidding conference tomorrow night, winning the bid from Tianlong Group and obtaining a 10 billion order. Moreover, there have long been rumors that Zhao Heilong, chairman of the Tianlong Group, can achieve his current success thanks to a mysterious big man behind him. Coincidentally, there is news that the big shot will appear at the Chamber of Commerce tomorrow night. She would definitely not let go of such a precious opportunity to make friends. But she would not tell Yi Tiance these thoughts, because even if she told him, he would not understand. She said in a cold tone, "Since we have come to this point, we must face this result." At least for me personally, I have tried my best to maintain this marriage. Whether I say this in front of you or in front of your family's tomb, I have a clear conscience. I hope you can understand my difficulties." Quote. Tiance asked back, "What is your reason? Money, status. Is it really that important?" Xiao Qingcheng shook her head in disappointment and said, "It's no use telling you, because you will never understand what I'm thinking." Tiance laughed at himself and said, "Yes, I really don't understand you, so I can only pour you water when you are thirsty, cook for you when you are hungry, and cheer you up when you are sad." Xiao Qingcheng frowned and said, "Is there any point in saying this? What I need is never what you call consideration. Because, what I want, you can't give it to me." At this time, a voice sounded in the distance. "Qingcheng is right, what she wants, low-class people like you can never give her." A young man in a white suit came over. This person is the eldest son of the Zhongnan family, Ji Bajuan. "I have been very close to Xiao Qingcheng recently." Ji Bajuan said softly to Xiao Qingcheng, "Didn't we agree to have dinner together later? My car is already parked outside the cemetery." Tiance laughed at himself. "Huh. So this is the reason for your divorce." The result of 3 years of silent hard work made him completely heartbroken at this moment. A look of determination flashed in his eyes as he said, "I agree to sign. I hope you won't regret it. Signed the divorce agreement neatly." Ji Bajuan said sarcastically, "Do you know? Insider information has been leaked that Qingcheng will win the bid from Tianlong Group and take a 10 billion order. It will be announced at the bidding chamber tomorrow night. She will be the most dazzling beauty CEO not only in Zhongnan City but also in Tianan Province." He poked Tiance's chest with his finger and said arrogantly, "And you? A waste who can't even enter the door of the Chamber of Commerce, are you worthy of making Qingcheng regret it?" Tiance took Ji Bajuan's hand away and said calmly, "I ordered Tianlong Group to hold the bidding meeting, and I also ordered Xiao Qingcheng to win the bid." Ji Bajuan laughed out loud. "Why don't you say that Lord Zhao Heilong, the chairman of the Tianlong Group and the so-called king of Zhongnan, obeys your orders?" Tiance said calmly, "Yes, he does obey me." Ji Bajuan sneered, "Mr. Yi, you are such a boaster. I might as well tell you the truth. The reason why Qingcheng was able to win the bid for the Tianlong Group this time was because my Zhongnan family asked Lord Long to mediate. What does it have to do with you?" Tiance didn't expect Ji Bajuan to be so shameless. Just as he was about to refute, Xiao Qingcheng scolded, "Tiance, that's enough. Do you know what nonsense you are talking about?" She handed over a bank card and said coldly, "This is 10 million yuan in compensation. Wait until the Chamber of Commerce ends tomorrow night, and go to the Civil Affairs Bureau the day after tomorrow morning to get a divorce certificate." Tiance didn't even look at the bank card. "I don't want a cent of the money. See you at the Civil Affairs Bureau the day after tomorrow. We won't owe each other anything from now on." Although his words were calm, his tone was more unfamiliar than ever before. Xiao Qingcheng bit her lower lip and wanted to say something, but in the end she couldn't open her mouth. She turned around and left with assistant son and Ji Bajuan. Leaving the cemetery, I got into Ji Bajuan's car. Ji Bajuan asked attentively, "Qingcheng, we have an appointment to have dinner together, where do you want to go?" Xiao Qingcheng said with a little tiredness, "Forget about eating, just send me back to the company." Ji Bajuan said awkwardly, "Well, okay." Xiao Qingcheng looked out of the car window. In the distance, Tiance stood alone in front of the mausoleum. There is a hint of desolation in loneliness. The car started and his back gradually disappeared from sight. Inexplicable. She seemed to feel that an important existence in her heart gradually disappeared at this moment. Chapter 29 Fiancees. In front of Grandpa's tombstone. Tiance sighed and said, "Grandpa, I failed your expectations. This marriage is doomed to failure. Now that I don't have to worry about marriage, I will have more energy to investigate the truth behind the fire at the Yi family." In fact, over the years, Tiance has always suspected that the fire in the Yi family was not an accident. But someone did it. Therefore, after returning to Zhongnan City 3 years ago, he has been investigating secretly, and recently he finally got some clues. Buzz tilde. Just then, his cell phone vibrated. "Answer the phone." Zhao Heilong's flattering voice came from the other side, "Mr. Yi, the invitations to the Chamber of Commerce for bidding tomorrow night have all been sent out, and the bid for the 10 billion investment contract for Mr. Xiao has also been drafted. What do you want to see?" Tiance said calmly, "Thank you for your concern, but I have already divorced her." "Divorce? Sorry, I didn't mean to do that." Zhao Heilong's face turned pale. Even though he was the chairman of the Tianlong Group and was known as the king of Zhongnan, everyone who saw him had to respectfully call him Lord Long. But he understood that all of this was secretly given by Tiance 3 years ago. Take it back, just one word. Tiance didn't want to say more about this matter, but asked, how is the matter that I arranged for you to investigate? Zhao Hailong said quickly, Mr. Yi, I have found out that the fire at the Yi family that year might have some connection with the Ji family in Zhongnan. Zhongnan Ji family. Tiance's pupils shrank, and a cold look flashed in his eyes. Zhao Hailong continued, I have sorted out the relevant information and would like to present it to you in person. What do you think? Tiance nodded. I'm at the Yi family cemetery, come over. Clear. Tiance just hung up the phone. 2 footsteps were heard in the distance. Turning my head, I saw a gorgeously dressed middle-aged woman and a young man walking towards me. The 2 people are Xiao Qingcheng's mother Zhang Hilan and her younger brother Xiao Nan. In the 3 years since they got married, this mother and daughter have been targeting him a lot. Zhang Hilan walked forward, frowned and asked, Mr. Yi, did Qingcheng ask for a divorce from you? Tiance nodded, just signed the divorce agreement. Zhang Hilan breathed a sigh of relief, that's great. My Qingcheng has been so unlucky for the past 3 years since she married you. Now we can finally get rid of you, a piece of trash. Xiao Nan also smiled proudly and said, my sister will be single again, and she can be with Master Ji Bajuan. When we join hands in the bidding conference this time, we will definitely win a 10 billion order, and piss off you, a loser. Tiance frowned and said, if you two are here to make sarcastic remarks, please change places and don't disturb my family's rest here. Xiao Nan pouted and said, why are you in such a hurry? You and my sister are divorced, so we have to settle some accounts. Xiao Nan picked up an old black shoulder bag. When you came to our Xiao family 3 years ago, you had nothing but this tattered bag. Now that you are divorced, you should take this tattered thing with you and stop dirtying my house. But I'm curious, what kind of crap is in there that's worth keeping for 3 years? As he said that, Xiao Nan opened his backpack, and to his surprise, there was a stack of marriage certificates inside. There are 9 in total. This is. Xiao Nan picked out a card at random and opened it. It reads, the same etiquette applies to judges, the 2 surnames are united to form a happy marriage, poems are written to promote a harmonious family, and 100 years of peace and tranquility are maintained. Male, Tiance. Female, Han Ruian. Xiao Nan was surprised, Han Ruian. Isn't she the only daughter of the richest man in Zhongnan City? How come you have a marriage certificate with her? Tiance said coldly, it has nothing to do with you, return it and the backpack to me. To be honest, these 9 marriage certificates were given to him by his master before he returned to Zhongnan City. He also said that these 9 fiancés were carefully selected by him and that they were match made in heaven and he should seize the opportunity. However, Tiance didn't take it to heart at all. After returning to Zhongnan City and marrying Xiao Qingcheng, he simply forgot about the 9 marriage certificates. If Xiao Nan hadn't taken it out at this moment, I wouldn't have remembered it. Xiao Nan closed the marriage certificate and sneered, humph. I think you heard that the Han family is looking for a match for Han Ruian recently, so you made a marriage certificate yourself and want to cheat in marriage. How could the Han family look up to a useless person like you? It would be better if I went there instead. As he said that, he put the marriage certificate into his bag and threw it directly at Tiance's feet. Zhang Hilan impatiently ordered Tiance, I heard that Qingcheng gave you 10 million yuan after divorcing you. How dare you, a loser, accept it? Return it to us now. Tiance said truthfully, I don't want the money. Xiao Nan cursed, you bastard. You have 10 million and you want to fool people. Tiance said coldly, watch your mouth. If I say I don't want it, then I don't want it. If you don't believe me, call your sister. Zhang Hilan spat, bah. I don't believe your lies. I'll search you right now. The bank card must be on you. Then he walked up and rummaged through Tiance's pockets. Tiance suppressed his anger and said, that's enough. Zhang Hilan ignored it and continued to search carefully. In the end, I found nothing. That's strange, could it be that this loser really didn't ask for money? Zhang Hilan looked unwilling. At this time, Xiao Nan's eyes turned and said, Mr. Yi, even if you didn't ask for the money, shouldn't you pay our Xiao family back? What's the meaning? Xiao Nan held up a finger and said, you've been living and eating for free at my Xiao family for 3 years. Shouldn't you give it back to our Xiao family after the divorce? I won't say more, but at least 1 million. Zhang Hilan added, not only that, you, a piece of trash, also wasted 3 years of my Qingcheng's youth, you must at least compensate her 3 million, and, after divorcing you, my Qingcheng will be married for the 2nd time, which will also be a loss to her reputation, you must also compensate her 3 million, the total is 7 million, hurry up and get the money. If you can't come up with the money, just sell your blood or your kidney. The aggressive attitude of Zhang Hilan and her daughter is simply shameless to the extreme. Tiance narrowed his eyes coldly and said in a deep voice, "Divorce is a matter between Xiao Qingcheng and I. It has nothing to do with you. I won't give you a penny. Get out." Xiao Nan looked disdainful and said arrogantly, "Who do you think you are? You can just get out of here if we ask you to. If you don't pay me back today, I will dig up your Yi family's ancestral grave." After saying, he actually raised his foot and kicked hard on the tombstone of Tiance's grandfather. Bang! A dirty shoe print was left on the tombstone. Putting his foot down, Xiao Nan said arrogantly, "Did you hear me? Hurry up and give me the money, Before he could finish his words, Tiance suddenly slapped him on the cheek. Bang! The huge force made Xiao Nan spin twice on the spot. The corners of his mouth were bleeding. "You uneducated beast, I have tolerated you for a long time." Tiance's eyes were cold and he kicked him again, knocking him to the ground. The latter rolled on the ground in pain. "Ouch! It hurts so much. Mom, please help me." Zhang Hilan pointed at Tiance and cursed, "You useless bastard, you dare to hit my son. I will fight you." As he said that, he was about to grab Tiance's face with his claws and fangs. At this moment, a loud shout came from a distance, "Stop!" Chapter 3, Cancellation of the Chamber of Commerce Qualification. I saw a slightly fat middle-aged man wearing gold-rimmed glasses walking quickly towards me, followed by 2 bodyguards in black. Zhao Heilong shouted in a deep voice, "What do you want to do?" Zhang Hilan was frightened by the other party and her momentum weakened by 3 points. She took 2 steps back. The person in front of me looked familiar, but I couldn't remember who he was. Zhao Heilong turned around and asked Tiance respectfully, "Are you okay?" Tiance shook his head to indicate that everything was fine. He really didn't want to waste his time on them. So he gave Zhao Heilong a look, and the latter understood what he meant and ordered the bodyguards to kick them out. The 2 bodyguards controlled Zhang Hilan and Xiao Nan respectively. Xiao Nan struggled violently and screamed, "You bastard, let your people go. My sister is Xiao Qingcheng from the Xiao group, can you afford to offend her?" Zhang Hilan also threatened Zhao Heilong, "Fatty. I'm Xiao Qingcheng's mother, let your people go." Zhao Heilong's face darkened, if he hadn't been concerned that these 2 women were relatives of Mr. Yi's ex-wife. He had someone thrown into the river a long time ago. So he shouted, "I don't care who you are, stay away from the cemetery and take it away." The 2 bodyguards took the man away without any hesitation. Tiance wiped the shoe prints off his grandfather's tombstone and asked, "You said that the fire at the Yi family was related to the Ji family in Jiangnan. Where is the information you prepared?" "This is it." Zhao Heilong quickly handed over a document. As he read the contents of the document, Tiance's expression gradually turned cold. 2 days later, Ji Wuli, the head of the Ji family and Ji Bajuan's father, prepared to hold his 60th birthday celebration. A small auction was planned to be held at the birthday party. One of the items to be auctioned was a tiger-shaped jade pendant, which was exactly the one that Grandpa Tiance had always worn. "I thought we would be buried in the sea of fire together, but I didn't expect that we are in the hands of Ji family." Zhao Heilong explained, "I investigated this information according to the clues you provided. As for how the Ji family got this jade pendant, I don't know." Quote, Tiance ordered, "Help me arrange to attend Ji Wuli's birthday banquet in 2 days. "Yes." Tiance turned around and looked at his grandfather's tombstone, and said coldly, "Grandpa, I will continue to follow this clue. No matter who killed you, I will make them be buried with you." Base. As soon as he finished speaking, a ball of fire suddenly burned in his hand, and the information instantly disappeared. Behind him, Zhao Heilong was stunned. Is this a means that humans can possess? Tiance picked up the backpack containing the marriage certificate on the ground and said, "Prepare a copy of Han Ruian's information and send it to me. I need to explain some old things." Clear. After hesitating for a moment, Zhao Heilong asked, "Mr. Yi, what about the Chamber of Commerce tomorrow night? I'll go over there, you can handle the rest." Tiance didn't think much and left. Zhao Heilong thought for a moment. He suddenly took out his cell phone and made a call, ordering, "Notify the Xiao family to cancel their qualification to attend the Chamber of Commerce tomorrow night. No explanation is needed. The list of winners of the 10 billion order will be redrafted." Ellipsis. Xiao Group, top floor office. Xiao Qingcheng sat in the office chair, feeling uneasy. "It's obviously a good thing to ask Tiance for a divorce, but for some reason I just can't be happy." Assistant Sun asked with concern, "Mr. Xiao, are you worried about something?" "No, nothing." Xiao Qingcheng regained his concentration and said, I was just thinking about the big shot behind Mr. Long in the Chamber of Commerce tomorrow night. Who is he? At this time, Ji Bajuan, who was sitting on the sofa opposite the desk, stood up and walked to Xiao Qingcheng. He boasted a little, "Qingcheng, that great man is of noble status and worshipped by thousands of people. It just so happens that I am very familiar with him. I will introduce him to you at the business conference. If you can gain his favor, your future will be limitless." Xiao Qingcheng said expectantly, "In that case, I'll trouble young Master Ji." Bang! The office door was suddenly pushed open. Zhang Hilan and Xiao Nan rushed in, looking embarrassed and aggrieved. Especially Xiao Nan's mouth was swollen and blood was flowing from the corners of his mouth. Zhang Hilan cried out, "Qingcheng, you must stand up for us and teach that damn bastard a lesson." Xiao Qingcheng asked with concern, "Mom, what's wrong with you?" Zhang Hilan said aggrievedly, "We were beaten by that loser Yi Tiance, he is an ungrateful person." Xiao Qingcheng frowned, a little bit unbelieving, how could it be him? This must be a mistake. After 3 years of marriage, although she was not satisfied with Yi Tiance, she still understood his temper. "I won't hit anyone easily." Zhang Hilan lied, "It's absolutely true. Your brother and I went to visit his family's grave with good intentions, but who would have thought that he would suddenly get angry and start beating us up?" Xiao Qingcheng was wavering. She knew that her mother and brother had many problems, so she was always a little skeptical of what they said. Ji Bo said solemnly, "Qingcheng, I believe Aunt Zhang. That loser must have been unable to accept the divorce proposal and didn't dare to lose his temper in front of you, so he took out his anger on Aunt Zhang and the others." Quote, "Young Master Ji is right." Zhang Hilan gave Ji Bajuan a grateful look and added fuel to the fire. "When that loser beat you up, he complained that you didn't get enough money in the divorce, and he even threatened to go to the Zhongnan Han family to participate in the marriage proposal and hook up with a rich woman to make you regret it." Xiao Qingcheng's expression darkened. When he filed for divorce earlier, Yi Tiance refused the 10 million and showed a carefree attitude, which made her look at him with new eyes. "I didn't expect that there was such a person behind the scenes." Thinking of this, she took out her phone and called Yi Tiance. At this time, Yi Tiance was on his way to the Han family in Zhongnan, preparing to find Han Ruian to cancel the engagement. The failure of his 3-year marriage made him lose all hope for marriage. Therefore, he decided to return all the 9 marriage certificates left to him by his master and put aside all the old matters. Buzz tilde. The phone vibrated and I saw the caller ID. After a slight hesitation, he slid the answer button. Xiao Qingcheng's dissatisfied questioning tone came from the other side immediately. "Yi Tiance, why do you do this?" Yi Tiance looked puzzled. "What did I do?" Xiao Qingcheng said coldly. "Huh? You don't admit it. Did you beat my brother?" Yi Tiance explained. "It's true that I hit him, but Xiao Qingcheng interrupted. "If you are not satisfied with the divorce conditions, you can come to me in person instead of waving your fist at my family. This is a sign of incompetence." Yi Tiance frowned. In order to protect her family, does Xiao Qingcheng not even care about right and wrong? Hearing Yi Tiance not speaking, Xiao Qingcheng continued to ask, "Where are you now?" Yi Tiance answered truthfully, "On the way to the Han family in Zhongnan." "What happened?" Xiao Qingcheng's pupils shrank. As expected, he really wanted to go to the Han family to participate in the marriage proposal. "Are you impatient now that you have just been asked for a divorce?" She took a deep breath. "Yi Tiance, I order you to apologize to my mother and my brother, and this matter will be over. Otherwise, it's unreasonable." Yi Tiance grumbled in dissatisfaction and simply hung up the phone. Xiao Qingcheng was so angry that she almost smashed her phone. "We must fight back immediately and ask Yi Tiance to give an explanation." But the cell phone rang first. I saw the caller ID was from Tianlong Group. After answering the call, Xiao Qingcheng's delicate body trembled and she almost fell to the ground. Assistant Sun hurriedly supported her and asked worriedly, "Boss Xiao, what's wrong?" Xiao Qingcheng looked pale and said in despair, "Tianlong Group cancelled our qualification to participate in the bidding meeting tomorrow night. It was Lord Long who gave the order personally." Chapter 4, The First Fiancé. Everyone present was shocked. Why was my qualification to join the Chamber of Commerce suddenly revoked? Wouldn't that mean the bid worth 10 billion yuan would also be ruined? Ji Bajuan frowned and asked, "How could Lord Long personally give the order? Did any of you offend him?" Xiao Qingcheng shook her head. She was always cautious when dealing with the Tianlong Group. How could she dare to offend them? However, Zhang Hilan and Xiao Nan looked at each other and instantly thought of the same thing. The fat man with gold-rimmed glasses whom they had insulted in the cemetery earlier seemed to be Zhao Heilong. After all, his commercial photos can be seen everywhere in Zhongnan City. No wonder it looked familiar at the time. Could it be that, just because of this incident, Zhang Hilin and the other person felt unwell instantly and were sweating profusely? Xiao Qingcheng noticed that Zhang Hilin and the other girl were acting strange, and asked, "What's wrong with you?" Xiao Nan didn't dare to tell the truth, so he turned his eyes and said, "Sister, I remember seeing Tiance insulting Lord Long in the cemetery just now. It must be because of this incident that Lord Long took revenge on our Xiao family." Xiao Qingcheng didn't believe it at all. How could Tiance have the guts to scold Lord Long? Zhang Hilin helped explain, of course that loser wouldn't dare to scold Master Long under normal circumstances. He must have been asked for divorce and held a grudge for doing this, so he deliberately dragged our Xiao family into this. Anyway, he's not afraid of wearing shoes even if he's barefoot. Don't worry about these details for now. This Chamber of Commerce is very important to our Xiao family. We must quickly restore our qualifications, otherwise the 10 billion order will be lost. Xiao Qingcheng bit her lips hard. She never expected that Tiance would be so narrow-minded that he would even resort to despicable means to retaliate against her. I totally misjudged him. Taking a deep breath, she said helplessly, I also want to save the relationship, but Lord Long has personally ordered it, what can I do? Assistant Sun reminded, Boss Xiao, didn't young Master Ji say that the Ji family was looking for Lord Long to mediate this bidding? He will definitely be able to help. Everyone immediately looked at Ji Bajuan. The latter's face suddenly became awkward, so he said with a stiff upper lip, that being said, I'm not very clear about the specific situation. I'll go to Tianlong Group to ask Mr. Long about the situation. Xiao Qingcheng thanked him and said, thank you for your help. After Ji Bajuan left, Assistant Sun comforted him, Boss Xiao, don't worry, we have the young master of the Ji family to help you. Xiao Qingcheng shook her head. Although the Ji family is one of the 3 major families in Jiangnan City, it may not be effective in front of Jiangnan King Longye. You have to find a way yourself. After hesitating for a moment, she said, the Han family is not only one of the 3 major families, but the head of the family, Han Tianzheng, is also the richest man in Zhongcheng. I heard that he has a good personal relationship with Mr. Long. I plan to visit him at the Han family and ask him to help. Assistant Sun said worriedly, the Han family is prominent and they are not familiar with us. Can they help? Xiao Nan patted his chest and said, don't worry, I'll go with my sister. It just so happens that the young lady of the Han family is looking for a husband recently. With my looks and talent, I will definitely pass the test. If I become the son-in-law of the Han family, how can the Han family not help me? Zhang Hilin slapped her thigh and said excitedly, yes. Xiao Nan is so outstanding that he will definitely become the son-in-law of the Han family. Let's go over there now. Well, okay, let's go to the Han family now. Xiao Qingcheng had no choice but to give it a try. Ellipsis. Wolong Manor covers an area of 10,000 square meters, with beautiful scenery and fresh air. This is the home of Han Tianzheng, one of the 3 major families in Jiangnan City and the richest man. On the way here, Tiance finished reading the information about Han Ruiyan that Zhao Heilong sent him. 2.5 months ago, Han Ruiyan developed a strange disease after returning from Mr. Han's funeral. He was in a coma every day and his skin was bleeding intermittently. All major hospitals were helpless. Han Tianzheng spent a large sum of money to invite Taoist Gongsun. After prying into the secret, this person said that Miss Han was not sick, but that Mr. Han did not see his granddaughter get married during his lifetime, and his unfulfilled wish became an obsession after his death, and his ghost lingered there. And gave a solution to the problem, to marry someone to bring good luck. So 7 days ago, the Han family announced that they would look for a compatible partner in Jiangnan City to marry Han Ruiyan and enjoy wealth and glory. As soon as the news came out, young people from all over the city came in droves and no longer wanted to work hard. Tiance walked all the way to the inner courtyard of the Han family, where 20 or 30 young men gathered. There is an altar in the center of the courtyard, on which is placed the spirit tablet of Mr. Han. In front of the tablet, there are 3 unlit incense sticks in the incense burner. The head of the family, Han Tianzheng, was standing on the right side of the altar. In the past 2.5 months, he first experienced the pain of losing his father and then the uncertainty of his daughter's life and death. He was exhausted both physically and mentally. On the left side of the altar, there is an old man with a goatee and wearing a yellow robe and a flower crown, who has a Taoist temperament. It was Taoist Gongsun. He stroked his beard and said, everyone, the so-called destined person needs to be recognized by Mr. Han. Listen to my command later and kneel down and kowtow to Mr. Han's spirit tablet. Then I will perform a ritual to test the fate. If the test shows that there is a destined person, the incense in front of the spirit tablet will automatically ignite. Let's start with you. A young man stepped forward, knelt down, and kowtowed 3 times to the spirit tablet of old man Han. Taoist Gongsun swung his whisk and stepped on the gang step, chanting, "Move your mind and body, return to the void, the number of dust and sand. Hurry up and obey the command, command." There was no response to the incense offering. Taoist Gongsun said expressionlessly, "Next." The next young man came forward and kowtowed. Seeing this, Tiance was speechless. Ever since he heard that Miss Han's coma was related to Mr. Han's lingering ghost, he thought it was nonsense. He didn't expect that the method of testing fate was even more ridiculous. You should know that fortune-telling and fate-checking are based on face reading and fortune-telling, and I have never heard of kneeling and kowtowing. His intuition told him that there must be something fishy going on here, so he waited and saw what happened. After a moment, including Tiance, there were only 2 people present who had not passed the fate test, and the rest all failed. Taoist Gongsun said to Han Tianzheng seriously, "Master Han, today is the 7th and last day of the test for the destined person. If you can't find anyone, please be mentally prepared." Han Tianzheng nodded sadly. Next one. A proud young man in a designer suit walked up and knelt in front of the spirit tablet. The crowd exclaimed, "Isn't this Ji Boxiao, the second son of the Ji family? Even he has come to take the test." The Ji family and the Han family are both the 3 major families in Jiangnan City. His second young master and Miss Han are a perfect match and will definitely pass the test. Ji Boxiao secretly gave Taoist Gongsun a look. The latter understood what he meant, stroked his beard and praised, "I see that this young man has a full forehead and the temperament of a dragon among men. I think only he can pass the test." "That's best." Han Tianzheng looked expectant. If Ji Boxiao could pass the test, it would mean a marriage between the Han and Ji families, which would be the best of both worlds. Move your mind and body, and take refuge in the void. Hurry up and obey the command. As Taoist Gongsun shouted loudly, the incense in the incense burner trembled slightly but did not burn. Taoist Gongsun frowned and said, "The incense is moving, which means this young man is destined to be with you. Quick, keep kowtowing, increase your strength and don't stop. I will continue the ritual." Ji Boxiao's expression lit up with joy, and he kowtowed a little more forcefully. "Hurry up and obey the order." The incense still didn't light up, and this happened for several times in a row. Han Tianzheng asked worriedly, "Master Gongsun, is Bo Xiao's fate not enough?" Taoist Gongsun was sweating profusely at this time. This shouldn't be the case. We had rehearsed it many times in advance. After taking a deep breath, he ordered Ji Boxiao, "Use harder, you must make the head bleed." "What?" Ji Boxiao shuddered and asked, "Are you sure this isn't going to kill me?" Taoist Gongsun said seriously, "Do as instructed." Ji Boxiao made up his mind and slammed his head hard on the ground. With a thud, bleeding began. "It hurts." Taoist Gongsun took the opportunity to pinch his fingers, his face flushed, and he stamped his feet vigorously, shouting, "Hurry up and obey the order. Command. Base. Good news, the incense is finally burning. The bad news, there was only one, and it only burned for 3 seconds. Taoist Gongsun said with a stiff upper lip, "As long as it works, the test is passed." Congratulations to Patriarch Han. Han Tianzheng looked excited, his daughter was finally saved. Taoist Gongsun reminded, "Second young master Ji, why don't you go to see your father-in-law?" Ji Boxiao covered his head and was about to salute Han Tianzheng. Puff. Suddenly, a burst of laughter came from the crowd. Chapter 5 Your marriage certificate is fake. Everyone looked over when they heard the voice, their eyes locked on Tiance. Ji Boxiao covered his head and scolded, "What are you laughing at?" Tiance said truthfully, "I was laughing at you for working so hard that your head was bleeding." "Is it that serious?" Ji Boxiao's eyes twitched. He didn't want to work hard, but Taoist Gongsun was not helpful. But he said stubbornly, "The bleeding shows my sincerity. Mr. Han admits that I am the destined person. Let the incense burn." Tiance said calmly, "The burning of incense is caused by other means, and has nothing to do with Mr. Han. When a person dies, it is like a light going out. Don't force him to do anything." Han Tianzheng suddenly shouted, "Stop talking nonsense. My daughter's marriage is a matter of great importance and must not be interfered with." "No problem." Taoist Gongsun stroked his beard, took 2 steps forward and sneered at Tiance, "You keep saying that the burning of incense is caused by other means. Very well, kneel down and kowtow and try. I'm afraid it will be useless even if you knock your brains out." "Kowtow. No need at all," Tiance said lightly and snapped his fingers. Bang. Next second. Swoosh. Swoosh. Swoosh! I saw the 3 incense sticks on the incense burner on the altar burning at a speed visible to the naked eye, and flames were coming out. Everyone present was stunned, as if they had seen a ghost. Taoist Gongsun's eyes almost popped out. After a long while, Han Tianzheng finally reacted and grabbed Yi Tiance's hand, and asked excitedly, "My dear son-in-law, what's your name?" Yi Tiance. Ah. Seeing this, Ji Boxiao became anxious. He quickly pushed Taoist Gongsun, who said hastily, "Master Han, you misunderstood. He is not your son-in-law." Han Tianzheng asked back, "Didn't you say that the burning of 3 incense sticks represented my father's recognition that he was the son-in-law of the Han family?" Taoist Gongsun gritted his teeth and explained, "In fact, your father recognized the second young Master Ji, but the spiritual manifestation was delayed, causing the incense to burn a minute later, and this kid just happened to take advantage of it." Everyone present. Taoist Gongsun also realized that this reason was a bit far-fetched, and added, "And I think this kid has a pointed face and a monkey face, and he has a bad luck and a short life. It is impossible for Mr. Han to recognize him." Yi Tiance sneered and said, "If you don't master the skills well, you should stop cheating people out of their money." Fart. Taoist Gongsun said angrily, "I have been learning martial arts in Kunlun Mountain for more than 60 years. I can read yin and yang, judge feng shui, and know destiny. How dare you, a young boy, say that I am not good at martial arts?" Yi Tiance took out the marriage certificate from his bag. She slapped him directly on the face. "You keep saying that Mr. Han doesn't recognize me, so what is this? Marriage certificate. How do you have this?" Taoist Gongsun opened the marriage certificate and his whole face was filled with shock. She kept saying that she was not recognized by Mr. Han, but she not only had a marriage certificate, but it also had Mr. Han's personal signature on it. This is not called recognition. What is recognition? At this moment, he just felt his face burning. Ji Boxiao was even more desperate to cry. After all his efforts throughout the day, wasn't it all in vain that he kowtowed? At this time, Han Tianzheng said dissatisfiedly, "Young man, I originally thought that you were the destined one for my daughter, but I didn't expect that you were also a liar who forged the marriage certificate. It's disappointing. Forged marriage certificate. What does that mean?" Yi Tiance didn't understand what was going on. Still pretending, Han Tianzheng ordered the butler Wang behind him, "Bring those junks up to him and show them to him." Yes. Soon, Butler Wang brought in a large box. Yi Tiance took a closer look and saw that the box was filled with marriage certificates of various styles. What the hell is this? Everyone present was equally stunned. Han Tianzheng explained, "To be honest, before my father passed away, he did arrange a marriage for union in his early years, but unfortunately he died before he could reveal the man's identity. However, the news leaked out, and that night a bunch of people came to my house with marriage certificates to fulfill the marriage contract. If the marriage certificates were real, Han would have abided by the marriage contract, but those dozens of marriage certificates were all forged, and they simply treated my Han family's marriage contract as a joke. I spent a lot of effort to suppress this matter." Quote. As he spoke, he stared at Yi Tiance and said seriously, "I didn't expect that after so long, you would still use such backward means to cheat. Do you really think that my Han family can be bullied?" Yi Tiance's face was full of black lines. My goodness, how would he know that there are people who form groups to forge marriage certificates to deceive people into marriage? Then he explained, "Whether my marriage certificate is real or fake, the Han family master will know it at a glance. No need to look at it." Han Tianzheng waved his hand and said impatiently, "We in the Han family don't welcome liars, go away." Whatever. Anyway, my original intention was to cancel the engagement. Just inform me of the news. Yi Tiance spread his hands helplessly. No matter what, I was the one who broke the engagement first. As compensation, I will leave this prescription for Miss Han to use for her treatment. He stuffed a prescription into the marriage certificate and handed it to Han Tianzheng. This was actually written in advance when he knew Han Ruian's symptoms and had already determined the cause of the disease. But the latter didn't even look at it, and threw it into the box containing other marriage certificates, and said coldly, "Hurry up and leave." Yi Tiance reminded, "Master Han, Miss Han's body can only hold on until today. The bleeding will become more and more serious. If you want to save her, it is recommended that she take medicine as soon as possible." After saying this, he left. Seeing Yi Tiance leave, Taoist Gongsun immediately straightened his back, regained his previous Taoist demeanor and said, "Humph. You little brat, you're talking nonsense." Han Tianzheng asked, "Master Gongsun, what should we do next? Since second young Master Ji is the destined one, let's go to Miss Han's bedside together." After I perform a ritual, she will naturally wake up. Good. Han Tianzheng brought Taoist Gongsun and Ji Boxiao to Han Ruiyan's bedroom. Lying on the bed was a girl with delicate features, like a fairy in a dream. She was Han Ruiyan. Taoist Gongsun immediately performed a ritual, stepping on the gang steps and chanting a spell silently. However, no matter what he did, even though he was gasping for breath, Han Ruiyan was not only still unconscious but his skin was bleeding even more severely. The situation is getting worse and worse, just as Tiance mentioned earlier. Master Gongsun, what should we do? Han Ruiyan's mother Li Shokan asked hurriedly. This, I don't know either. Taoist Gongsun was panicked. Ji Boxiao standing by was also at a loss. At this moment, Han Tianzheng suddenly thought of something. Butler Wang, quickly bring the boy's marriage certificate. After the marriage certificate was brought, Han Tianzheng's eyes widened when he saw his father's autograph. This marriage certificate is indeed real. I am so confused. So, is this prescription real too? A gleam of determination flashed in Han Tianzheng's eyes, and he immediately ordered the servant to boil the medicine according to the prescription left by Tiance. Soon, the medicine was boiled and fed to Han Ruiyan. Han Ruiyan's skin no longer bleeds. The person also opened his eyes and woke up. Everyone was stunned. A lucky star has descended upon my Han family. Han Tianzheng's face was filled with ecstasy, and he immediately ordered Steward Wang, hurry up and invite Tiance back. Ellipsis. Tiance had only taken a few steps after leaving the Han family's Wolong manor. Suddenly, a black Mercedes stopped in front of us. A few familiar figures came down. Xiao Qingcheng, and her mother Zhang Hilan and brother Xiao Nan. Chapter 6. Who is Xiao Qingcheng to you? Seeing these three people, Tiance frowned slightly. It's true that enemies meet in a narrow road. Xiao Nan pouted and said, Sister, I didn't lie to you, did I? This he really came to the Han family. It looks like he failed in the marriage proposal and was kicked out. It's so funny. Xiao Qingcheng bit her lip subconsciously. Although she was the one who proposed the divorce, she felt inexplicably uncomfortable seeing Tiance looking for someone else to marry so quickly. Force yourself to suppress the discomfort. She asked, Tiance, if you feel wronged by the divorce, you can just speak out openly. Why do you have to resort to mean revenge? Tiance was stunned. Revenge? I don't understand what you mean. Xiao Qingcheng clenched his fist subconsciously. You have the courage to do it, but you don't dare to admit it, right? Okay, let me ask you why you hit my brother. Tiance replied, because he deserves to be beaten. Xiao Qingcheng suppressed her anger and continued to ask, did you curse Lord Long? No. Wait, do you have any misunderstanding about me? Oh, no misunderstanding. Xiao Qingcheng sneered and shook his head, his face full of disappointment. It's already this late, are you still pretending to be confused? If she felt guilty when she filed for divorce this morning, she no longer feels guilty from now on. So he said coldly, Tiance, I admit defeat this time and will not pursue the matter any further. This will be considered as compensation for your divorce. From this moment on, you and I owe nothing to each other and have no further connection. Please do not engage in shameful activities again. Tiance was very upset. What is going on? Zhang Hilan sneered, just listen to what my daughter said and get out of here. Don't stand here blocking the Han family's door and making us embarrassed together. Xiao Nan followed up with angrily, just because you ruined our Xiao family's 10 billion order, you ungrateful bastard. Why don't you get out of here now? Who did you tell to get out? As soon as he finished speaking, an angry shout was heard in the distance. A middle-aged man with a square face walked quickly from the gate of the Han family, followed by 4 bodyguards in black. Meet this person. Xiao Qingcheng was stunned. Isn't this the Han family's housekeeper Wang? As everyone knows, if you want to see Han Tianzheng in Zhongnan City, you have to get past Butler Wang first. Xiao Qingcheng stepped forward and greeted politely, Butler Wang, I am Xiao Qingcheng, the president of Xiao Family Group. I want to see Patriarch Han for something. Please convey it to him. Steward Wang refused directly, the master is very busy and does not see outsiders. This. Xiao Qingcheng stood there awkwardly. Xiao Nan shook his bangs and said, Butler Wang, I'm here to participate in the marriage proposal. With my talent and appearance, I'm definitely worthy of Miss Han. Please lead the way. Steward Wang said coldly, no need, the young lady has already found a husband. Ah, how could it be? Xiao Nan was filled with jealousy. Who is so lucky as to succeed in finding a wife? Butler Wang walked straight up to Tiance. He bowed and said, Mr. Yi, our master apologizes for the previous misunderstanding and would like to invite you to go back and discuss the marriage proposal again. Quote, Yi Tiance thought about it and felt that staying here and facing those three people would only make him more upset. So he nodded and said, okay. The group left. Xiao Qingcheng and the other two were left looking at each other in bewilderment. Zhang Hilin couldn't believe it. Am I seeing things right? Butler Wang is so respectful to Yi that he even wants to bring her back to discuss a blind date. Sister, could it be that he is the one who succeeded in finding a husband? Xiao Nan thought of a terrible and unacceptable fact. Xiao Qingcheng looked at the familiar figure walking into the Han family's gate and felt as if her heart was inexplicably stabbed. Ding a ling tilde. The cell phone rang. It was assistant Sun calling. As soon as the call was connected, her panicked voice came, Mr. Xiao, something happened. What should we do? Xiao Qingcheng frowned and said, calm down and speak slowly. The news that the Xiao family's qualification to attend the conference was cancelled leaked out. The business community in Jiangnan City is rumored that the Tianlong Group wants to ban us, causing all partners to propose to terminate the contract. Not only that, but also. As pieces of heavy news came in, Xiao Qingcheng's face became paler and paler. Zhang Hilin and Xiao Nan, who also heard the news, also widened their eyes. I didn't expect things to turn out so bad. After hanging up the phone. Ding a ling. Xiao Qingcheng's cell phone rang again, this time it was her grandfather Xiao Hongming calling. Wait until the call is finished. Xiao Qingcheng sighed and said, alas, my grandfather got to know the news of the group's accident. He immediately rushed back from other places to hold a family meeting and asked us all to attend. Xiao Nan asked, does the man surnamed Yi want to participate too? Xiao Qingcheng hesitated, then shook her head and said, don't worry about him. When you go back to see Grandpa later, don't tell him that I asked for a divorce. I'm worried that he won't be able to accept it. Ellipsis. Han's living room. Sitting on the sofa were Yi Tiance, Han Tianzheng and his wife, and Han Ruiyan, who had just recovered from a long illness. Han Tianzheng has already told Han Ruiyan everything that happened. Han Ruiyan looked Yi Tiance up and down. The boy was quite handsome, but that didn't mean she could accept him. So I said bluntly, Dad, I won't marry him. Han Tianzheng said seriously, nonsense, this engagement was made by your grandfather, and Xiao Yi just saved you. If you don't marry him, who will you marry? When his father passed away 2.5 months ago, he told Han Ruiyan that the fiancé arranged by him was a child of destiny who would bring great fortune to the Han family and must not be missed. From the fact that Yi Tiance cured his daughter's illness, we can see that his methods are extraordinary. I think his background is very powerful. Han Tianzheng doesn't want to let this son-in-law go. Han Ruiyan said dissatisfiedly, what era is it now? Do you still care about marriage contracts? I won't marry you if I say so. Besides, I already have a man I like. Han Tianzheng and his wife were confused. Their daughter has always been very picky. When did she find a man she liked? Yi Tiance nodded and said, that's the best. I came here to cancel the engagement. Han Ruiyan rolled his eyes. I thought to myself that it was obviously you who was too embarrassed to back down after being rejected by me, so you had to pretend to break off the engagement in order to maintain your pitiful dignity. Sure enough, compared to the man she liked, he was far from it. I really hope I can have a chance to meet him. Dad, Mom, I'm still a little dizzy. I'm going to rest first. Han Ruiyan stood up, said this and left. This child. Han Tianzheng looked disappointed, and comforted Yi Tiance. Xiao Yi, my daughter has this temper. Don't take it to heart. Don't break up the engagement on impulse. I think you two are a good match. Yi Tiance smiled bitterly and said, I'm not impulsive, I'm serious. This. Han Tianzheng's face froze. You have to know that Jiangnan City is in turmoil right now, and even if he is the richest man, he has to act with caution. The son-in-law chosen must naturally be able to help the Han family. Therefore, talents like Yi Tiance with a strong background must be captured. Just as he was thinking about how to continue persuading Yi Tiance, his wife Li Shokin received a text message on her mobile phone. After she read the message, her face gradually turned cold. He raised his head and looked directly at Yi Tiance, and asked, who is Xiao Qingcheng to you? Chapter 7 The Xiao family is in chaos. Yi Tiance answered truthfully, she is my wife, but, she filed for divorce this morning. Han Tianzheng looked at Li Shokin and asked, what's going on? Li Shokin said coldly, I just asked someone to investigate Yi Tiance's information. 3 years ago, he married Xiao Qingcheng from the Xiao family and ate and drank for free at the Xiao family for 3 years. Just this morning, Xiao Qingcheng filed for divorce and he came to our house right after that. So you understand what I mean, right? Han Tianzheng's face darkened. He captured 2 key messages from these words. First, Yi Tiance was divorced after living off the Xiao family for 3 years, which shows that he has no deep background at all, otherwise the Xiao family would have discovered it long ago. Second, she came to his house to find a husband right after the divorce was filed, which shows that she is used to living off his wife. The so-called cancellation of the engagement is actually a tactic of playing hard to get. What a good trick. I almost got fooled by him. Han Tianzheng glanced at Yi Tiance and said dissatisfiedly, "Young man, my Han family treats you with sincerity, but you use mean means to deal with it. Isn't that inappropriate?" Yi Tiance frowned. "What do you mean?" Li Shoukan stood up and said disdainfully, "Haha. You are quite good at pretending. What about seeking a wife and breaking off an engagement? Aren't you just after our Han family's property? Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? A loser who was kicked out of a second-rate family like the Xiao family, how can you dream of marrying my daughter? Dream on. As the saying goes, even a clay man can get angry." Yi Tiance's tone turned cold and he said, "What are you talking about? I came to the Han family only to break off the engagement, not for money. Don't think people are so vulgar." Li Shoukan rolled her eyes and said, "Oh. I've seen many men like you who are stubborn." Then he threw a bank card onto the coffee table. "Since you saved my daughter, take the 3 million and get out of here. Don't bother us again. Butler Wang, show us out." Butler Wang came forward with his bodyguards, looking murderous. "Make a gesture of invitation to Yi Tiance." Yi Tiance stood up with an indifferent look. He was welcoming him warmly just a few minutes ago, but in the next moment he humiliated and drove him away. This is the perfect example of snobbery. He didn't even look at the bank card. He said coldly, "Keep these 3 million for the retirement of frogs in the well like you." After saying this, he strode away without looking back. "You little brat. Who are you calling a frog in a well?" Looking at Yi Tiance's back, Li Shoukan was extremely angry. Han Tianzheng frowned and asked, "Are you going too far? What's so extreme? You really want to let this useless thing that even the Xiao family doesn't want marry union and ruin her life?" "That's not the case." Han Tianzheng shook his head and said, "I just think that if Yi Tiance is really useless, why can he come up with a prescription that can cure Yunyan's illness? This skill alone is not something that ordinary people can have." Li Shoukan curled her lips and said, "He guessed it, otherwise he must have picked up this prescription, it has nothing to do with him." "There is some truth to that." Han Tianzheng said to Li Shoukan, "Go upstairs and tell your daughter that the big man behind Mr. Long of the Tendering Chamber of Commerce will appear tomorrow night. Our Han family must find a way to curry favor with him. It's a very important matter. Tell her to prepare in advance and go with me." Li Shoukan went upstairs not long after. Han Tianzheng's cell phone rang, and it was Zhao Heilong calling. But I didn't dare to delay and answered the phone quickly. "Master Long, what instructions do you have for me?" Zhao Heilong smiled and said, "I heard that your daughter's old illness has recovered. Congratulations. How is the marriage proposal going? I'm still looking forward to the wedding. Don't mention it. I almost got cheated." Han Tianzheng first complained about what happened today, then sneered. "Before leaving, that guy named Yi Tiance said that we were frogs in a well. It's ridiculous. Quote. Hey, Lord Long, why are you silent?" Unexpectedly, Zhao Heilong's attitude suddenly turned cold and he said, "Humph. You are indeed frogs in the well, so take care of yourselves." Beep beep tilde. Hang up the phone. "Ah, what do you mean?" Han Tianzheng was confused and subconsciously called Zhao Heilong back, but found that he was blocked. "I didn't say anything to offend him, so why is he angry? Etc. Yi Tiance. Could it be related to him? Yunyan, Dad has something urgent to discuss with you." He immediately stood up and hurried upstairs to find Han Ruiyan. Ellipsis. Yi Tiance had not taken a few steps away from the Han family when he received a call from Mr. Xiao. "Hey, Grandpa, what's the matter with you calling?" For 3 years, Xiao Hongming treated Yi Tiance as his own son, and he also treated Xiao Hongming as his own grandfather and was very filial. Xiao Hongming said tiredly, "Tiance, there is an emergency meeting at home. Please come back quickly, I have something to tell you." To be honest, Yi Tiance didn't want to have anything to do with the Xiao family anymore. "However, I thought that after I get the divorce certificate with Xiao Qingcheng, I will probably never go to the Xiao family again. This may be the last time I see the old man." So he agreed, "Okay, I'll go back right away." Ellipsis. Xiao family villa. At this time, many managers of the Xiao group and relatives and friends of the Xiao family gathered together and the place was in chaos. In the 3 years since Yi Tiance and Xiao Qingcheng got married, the Xiao family has been moving forward steadily and their careers are booming. However, for unknown reasons, today, with the cancellation of the bidding chamber's qualification, a chain reaction has occurred, causing all of the group's businesses to be severely affected. This has never happened before. After Xiao Hongming hung up the phone, he frowned and asked Xiao Nan, "Are you sure it was Tiance who insulted Lord Long, causing him to retaliate against the Xiao family?" Xiao Nan nodded quickly. "It's absolutely true, my mother and I saw it together." Zhang Hilan echoed, "Dad, it's true." Xiao Hongming shook his head and said, "Tiance shouldn't be this kind of person. I know his character very well. Qingcheng, Grandpa trusts you more. Tell me what's going on." Xiao Hongming looked at Yi Qingcheng. He had only one son but he died early, and his grandson Xiao Nan was unreliable, so he had always trained Xiao Qingcheng as his successor. Xiao Qingcheng hesitated, then a look of determination flashed in his eyes as he said, "What they said is true. Of course, the Xiao family has lost the qualification to attend the meeting, and I, as the chairman of the group, should take responsibility." As soon as these words came out, many of the Xiao family's children started to speak up for the injustice. "Boss Xiao, this has nothing to do with you. It's all because of that loser Yi Tiance. He caused us to lose the 10 billion order that was about to come. Yes, you have been very kind to that piece of trash. There is no need to take the responsibility on yourself. Our Xiao family shouldn't have fulfilled the marriage contract with him back then. You bastard, you don't know how to be grateful. You should divorce him, break his legs, and kick him out of the Xiao family." Listening to the crowd's condemnation, Xiao Hongming frowned and his mind sank. Was it really a wrong decision that I insisted on letting Xiao Qingcheng and Yi Tiance fulfill their engagement? What should we do now? Someone suggested, "Master, if you ask me, the person who tied the bell should be the one to untie it. We should arrest Yi Tiance and make him bow every 3 steps and kowtow every 9 steps to apologize to Lord Long. Maybe Lord Long will be in a better mood and let the Xiao family go." Xiao Nan snorted disdainfully. "He is such a waste, causing such a big disaster. If he has the guts to come back, I will eat shit on the spot." As soon as the words fell, a familiar voice rang out from outside the living room, "If you want to eat shit, just say so. There's no need to make excuses." Chapter 8 I can get Zhao Heilong back his Chamber of Commerce seat. Seeing Yi Tiance walk into the living room, Xiao Qingcheng frowned. "What are you doing back here?" Yi Tiance replied calmly, "Grandpa called me to come back." Then he stepped forward and greeted Xiao Hongming politely, "Grandpa, I'm back." Before Xiao Hongming could answer, everyone present began to denounce him fiercely. "You ungrateful bastard, you still have the nerve to come back. Do you know how much trouble you have caused? You insulted Lord Long, causing the Xiao family to be disqualified from participating in the Chamber of Commerce and losing the winning bid that was in your grasp. What crime should you be charged for? Once the Xiao family wins the 10 billion order, their status will catch up with or even surpass the 3 major families in one fell swoop, but you have ruined it all." Yi Tiance suddenly realized that he finally understood why Xiao Qingcheng treated him that way in front of the Han family's door before. "It turns out that I was taking the blame for no reason." So he explained, "I didn't insult Zhao Heilong. The 10 billion order from the Xiao family is actually—" Xiao Nan interrupted him, "Bullshit. Do you think you can call Lord Long by his name? I clearly saw that it was you who insulted Lord Long, and you still refuse to admit it. You are so bold. Grandpa, I beg you to punish Yi Tiance according to your family rules, and see if he dares to be stubborn again." "Shut up." Xiao Hongming glared at Xiao Nan and said to Yi Tiance, "Go on." Yi Tiance said, "There are indeed people who insult Zhao Heilong, but it's not me, it's these two." He pointed at Zhang Hilan and Xiao Nan and said, "You two are confusing right and wrong and framing others. You are so shameless." Xiao Hongming's face darkened and he asked the two of them, "Is this true?" Xiao Nan defended himself, "Grandpa, don't listen to his nonsense. How dare I scold Grandpa Long?" Zhang Hilan also nodded in agreement. "Yi Tiance is making trouble and deliberately dragging his mother and daughter into this. Dad, you have to investigate it clearly." Xiao Hongming frowned and thought. At the moment, he didn't know who to believe. Xiao Qingcheng said to Yi Tiance impatiently, "Are you done yet? You are still trying to pass the buck at this time. Don't you think our Xiao family is in chaos enough?" Yi Tiance raised his eyebrows and asked, "You don't trust me? What else?" Xiao Qingcheng said angrily, "Because of your willful behavior, the Xiao family lost the qualification to attend the conference and ruined the future of the Xiao family. What else do you want? Don't you think the Xiao family is miserable enough? Go away. I don't want to see you again." Xiao Hongming frowned and said, "Qingcheng, don't say such things." Then he said helplessly to Yi Tiance, "Don't take it to heart. This incident is really a huge blow to the Xiao family. Not to mention Qingcheng, even I can't accept it. Yi Tiance looked at Xiao Hongming's lost and helpless appearance. I sighed in my heart. The old man has been very kind to me, so for his sake, I will help the Xiao family one last time. Grandpa, don't worry, I can get Zhao Heilong to restore the Xiao family's quota for the Chamber of Commerce. As soon as these words were spoken, there was an uproar at the scene. Xiao Nan laughed out loud. It's so funny, you asked Long Yi to recover and he recovered, but he is your subordinate. You are such a boaster. Zhang Hilin scolded, can you stop embarrassing yourself here, you useless piece of shit. Get out of here, Xiao Qingcheng said coldly. Yi Tiance, take back your self-righteous look. Even Xiao Hongming shook his head and sighed, obviously not believing what he said. Facing everyone's doubts, Yi Tiance said calmly, wait a moment, I'll make a call and we'll know the result. After saying that, he left the living room. I found a place where no one was around and called Zhao Heilong. As for the people in the living room, they didn't take Yi Tiance's words seriously at all. We are still discussing the issue of how to resolve the number of participants in the conference. Assistant Sun reminded, Boss Xiao, didn't young Master Ji say earlier that he would help find Master Long? Can you ask him how he is doing? Xiao Qingcheng shook her head helplessly and said, I've called several times, but no one answered. Maybe I can't help you at all, so you're just avoiding me on purpose. Zhang Hilin said quickly, how could that be? Young Master Ji always keeps his word. Do you think it's that loser Yi Tiance? If he says he can help, he will definitely help. Xiao Nan followed up and echoed, Mom is right. Young Master Ji can help us win the bid, not to mention such a small matter as restoring the quota for the conference. Let's just wait for good news. Ellipsis. At the same time, in a high-end club, Ji Bo was sitting on the sofa, enjoying the shoulder massage service from two sexy women in scantily clad clothes. Standing in front of him was a man who looked 3/4 like him, with a bandage on his forehead. It was his younger brother Ji Boxiao. Ji Boxiao said with a look of resentment and grievance, brother, everything went smoothly. Who would have thought that Yi Tiance would show up to mess things up at the critical moment? If it weren't for him, I would have become the son-in-law of the Han family long ago. Ji Bajuan snorted coldly, that loser is just a gigolo. You can't even deal with him, what excuses do you have? Ji Boxiao poured a glass of wine for Ji Bo and said, brother, don't be angry. The Han family won't be interested in him anyway. I will have plenty of opportunities to win Han Ruian in the future. By the way, how are you and Xiao Qingcheng doing? Ji Bajuan said calmly, the outside world is saying that the Tianlong group wants to ban the Xiao family. Now the Xiao family is not far from collapse. Ji Boxiao asked doubtfully, brother, what's the point of you continuing to pursue Xiao Qingcheng? Their family has no chance of getting a 10 billion order, so they are not of much use to our family. In fact, the two brothers had divided the work from the very beginning. The elder brother Ji Bajuan pursues Xiao Qingcheng, while the younger brother Ji Boxiao goes to the Han family to propose marriage. No matter which one succeeds, it will be a great boost to the Ji family. Ji Bajuan raised his lips and said, of course I know, and I was the one who spread the rumor that the Tianlong group was going to ban the Xiao family. Quote, Ji Boxiao asked in confusion, shouldn't you help the Xiao family and prove yourself in front of Xiao Qingcheng? Ji Bajuan sneered, how can I change the decision made by Lord Long? Instead of helping them, it is better to spread rumors and make things worse, so that everyone stays away from the Xiao family. In this way, I can invade with force, easily control the Xiao family and Xiao Qingcheng, and absorb all their assets, which will be of great help to my Ji family. Ji Boxiao gave a thumbs up. Brother, this is a brilliant move. I admire you. Ji Bajuan smiled triumphantly and glanced at his phone, which showed a series of missed calls from Xiao Qingcheng. She's so anxious, it seems the time is almost right, I'll go to Xiao's house and take advantage of the situation. Ji Bo stood up and left. Ji Boxiao, who stayed behind, drank a glass of wine fiercely, gritted his teeth and said with a gloomy face, Mr. Yi, we are not done with this matter yet, don't let me find you. Ellipsis. Outside the Xiao family villa. Yi Tiance has already finished talking to Zhao Heilong on the phone and ordered him to restore the Xiao family's quota to attend the meeting. The winning bid result will be changed from being internally determined by the Xiao family to a fair reselection. Of course, it is also true that Zhao Heilong was insulted by Zhang Hilin and Xiao Nan. Therefore, Yi Tiance also gave Zhao Heilong a plan, which would make Zhang Hilin and her son apologize to him. After all, one thing is one thing. Hang up the phone. When Yi Tiance was about to turn around and go back, his cell phone rang. It's an unfamiliar number. Yi Tiance answered the phone and asked, "Hello, who is this?" A familiar cold and arrogant voice came from the other side. "I am Han Ruian, is it convenient for us to meet? I want to tell you something." Yi Tiance was quite surprised that she would come to him, and asked puzzledly, "What's the matter that is inconvenient to talk over the phone?" Han Ruian said forcefully, "Let's talk face to face. I'll hang up first. I'll send you the meeting address later. Remember to come. Just hang up the phone." Yi Tiance frowned and muttered, "Why are women nowadays more powerful than each other?" Just then, a red Lamborghini stopped at the door of the villa. Ji Bajuan, dressed smartly, got out of the car. "See Yi Tiance," he said jokingly, "Hey, isn't this the useless son-in-law kicked out by the Xiao family? How dare you go back to the Xiao family?" Chapter 9. Yi Tiance, agree to divorce. Yi Tiance responded calmly, "What does it have to do with you?" Ji Bajuan sneered, still pretending. "I see that you failed in your marriage proposal, and you want to go back to the Xiao family and continue to eat and drink like a fool. Don't dream, the Xiao family is going to be ruined." He walked to Yi Tiance's side. He lowered his voice and said, "In the final analysis, it was thanks to you insulting Lord Long and implicating the Xiao family that I was given the opportunity to take advantage of it." Yi Tiance raised his eyebrows. "What do you mean?" Ji Bajuan licked his lips and said greedily, "Rumor has it that the Xiao family has been banned by the Tianlong group. They are in trouble now and can only ask me for help. When the time comes, I will use a little trick to make the Xiao family surrender to me. As for Xiao Qingcheng, I can do whatever I want to her." Yi Tiance narrowed his eyes and said, "I think you spread this rumor, right?" Ji Bajuan laughed and said, "Oh. Who knows? Anyway, it has nothing to do with a piece of trash like you." Then he swaggered into the villa, already imagining how he would take control of the Xiao family. When he just walked into the living room of the villa. However, he found that there was no depressing atmosphere in the living room. Instead, everyone present was very excited and there was no sign of collapse. "What's going on?" Zhang Hilan suddenly stepped forward, grabbed his hand and said excitedly, "Master Ji, thank goodness you helped, otherwise our Xiao family would be finished." "Help?" Ji Bajuan was completely confused and didn't understand what was going on. Zhang Hilan smiled. "Just now, Lord Long called and announced that the Xiao family's quota for the Chamber of Commerce will be restored. Didn't you help convince him?" "What the hell?" Ji Bajuan was even more confused. With his own strength, how could he be qualified to convince Lord Long? What happened to make things suddenly turn around? However, since the Xiao family has restored their Chamber of Commerce qualifications, it means that Lord Long has forgiven the Xiao family. It is estimated that the internal winning bid still exists, so it still has value. Although he didn't understand why these people misunderstood that he was helping them, he just let it go. So he coughed lightly and pretended to be profound. "Ahem, I just had a meal with Lord Long and mentioned it casually. I didn't expect that he agreed." As soon as these words came out, everyone present praised him highly again. Even Xiao Hongming stroked his beard and nodded with satisfaction. Xiao Qingcheng stepped forward, unable to conceal her excitement, and said, "Young Master Ji, I am eternally grateful for your kindness. Qingcheng, with me here, let alone restoring your family's qualification to attend the meeting and win the bid, even if I can introduce you to sit down and chat with that big shot, how difficult would that be?" At this time, Ji Bajuan put his hands in his pockets, looking as if he had no opponent. Hearing this, Yi Tiance who followed and couldn't help but sneer. "Haha, this guy is really shameless." Zhang Hilan said viciously, "You useless thing, how dare you laugh? Look at young Master Ji, how easy it was for him to change Lord Long's mind. And then look at you, you have no other ability except causing trouble." Yi Tiance asked, "Why do you think he made Zhao Heilong change his mind?" Zhang Hilan glared at Yi Tiance with disgust. "If it's not young Master Ji, how could it be you?" Yi Tiance nodded. "It's me." Xiao Nan laughed out loud and said, "Mr. Yi, you'll die if you don't brag. You just said you could solve it by making a phone call, but you disappeared for a long time. Now that young Master Ji has solved the problem, you jump out to steal his credit. Do you have any shame?" Assistant Sun also echoed, "You insulted Master Long and brought trouble to the Xiao family. If it weren't for young Master Ji's help, you would have been killed by Master Long. Not only are you ungrateful now, but you're also trying to steal the credit. How can you be so ungrateful?" Ji Bajuan waved his hands and pretended to be generous. "Forget it, I am a magnanimous person and I won't argue with him." Quote, Xiao Qingcheng said to Yi Tiance seriously, "I don't expect you to learn the masculinity of young Master Ji, but at least say thank you to him, after all, he helped you. You want me to say thank you to him?" Yi Tiance shook his head and sneered. This kind of villain is not worthy, you can say what you want to say. Xiao Qingcheng couldn't help it. Yi Tiance, how can you be so ungrateful? I really don't understand why you have become like this. Yi Tiance said calmly. No matter what I become, you always look down on me, don't you? You are hopeless. Xiao Qingcheng bit her lower lip, completely disappointed with Yi Tiance. Xiao Nan even suggested to Xiao Hongming, Grandpa, you see how ungrateful and arrogant this Yi is, right? You should order his legs to be broken, divorce my sister, and drive him out of the Xiao family to prevent him from causing trouble to us again. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone in the Xiao family expressed their support. This, Xiao Hongming sighed. Over the past 3 years, everyone in the Xiao family, except him, was dissatisfied with Yi Tiance, but the faults they picked out were all minor and insignificant. But today is different. Yi Tiance's behavior not only angered everyone, but also almost destroyed the Xiao family. Even after making a mistake, he still does not repent and keeps making excuses. Could it be that I have persisted for 3 years and have really chosen the wrong person? After hesitating for a while, he asked Xiao Qingcheng, Qingcheng, this is your own marriage, Grandpa, respects your thoughts. Grandpa, Xiao Qingcheng bit her lip. She had asked her grandfather countless times to respect her choice of marriage. Now that her grandfather suddenly gave her this power, she didn't know what to say. Zhang Hilin on the side hurriedly urged, silly girl, what are you standing there for? Hurry up and agree to divorce Yi Tiance. Xiao Nan also echoed, sister. Quickly cut off all ties with the surname Yi. This is a rare opportunity. Xiao Qingcheng finally had a flash of determination in her eyes. Grandpa, to be honest with you, I have already asked Yi Tiance for a divorce this morning. After attending the Chamber of Commerce, I will go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get a divorce certificate. This is what I think. Well, Xiao Hongming sighed, looked at Yi Tiance and said, Tiance, you. Grandpa, you don't have to say it. Yi Tiance raised his hand to interrupt Xiao Hongming and said calmly, I, Yi Tiance, agree with Xiao Qingcheng's proposal. Thank you for your care over the past 3 years. Goodbye. Yi Tiance bowed deeply to Xiao Hongming, which was considered as a complete farewell to the Xiao family. Then he turned around, without even looking at anyone else, and left. Everyone in the Xiao family cheered. Haha, this unlucky star has finally gone away, and our Xiao family is finally going to rise. In the past 3 years, he has screwed the Xiao family over badly. When he gets the 10 billion order tomorrow night and makes friends with the big shot behind Lord Long, I will envy him to death. Quote. For some reason, Xiao Qingcheng didn't feel excited when she saw the joy of the crowd. Instead, there is a sense of confusion as if I have lost something important. Zhang Hilin cleared her throat and suggested, if you ask me, it's all thanks to young Master Ji that our Xiao family got through this difficult time. We should set up 2 tables and thank him properly. Especially Qingcheng, you should drink a few more glasses with him. Everyone agreed. Ji Bajuan said pretentiously, Master Long just invited me to dinner, so I am not hungry yet. However, since you are so kind, I will respectfully obey your orders. As soon as the words fell, a cold voice suddenly sounded outside the door. When did you have dinner with Lord Long? How come I didn't know? Chapter 10. The invitation of the first fiancé Han Ruian. A pretty woman wearing a red hip skirt and black stockings walked into the living room. He looks no more than 30 years old, but he exudes the aura of a superior. Ji Bajuan frowned and said, who are you? Do you have any evidence to prove that I didn't have dinner with Mr. Long? The woman said coldly, this afternoon, Long Yi and I were in a meeting. I didn't see him having dinner with anyone. Did you travel through time? Swish. Everyone's eyes fell on Ji Bajuan. You keep saying that you had dinner with Zhao Heilong, are you lying? Ji Bajuan stubbornly retorted, don't listen to her. She's just a pretty girl who can't even find the door to the Tianlong group. She even boasted that she had a meeting with Lord Long for an entire afternoon. No one would believe her. As soon as the words fell, Xiao Qingcheng suddenly stepped forward and said respectfully to the woman, Boss Qian, why are you here? I'm sorry for not welcoming you. Ji Bajuan was stunned. Qingcheng, what is Mr. Qian? Xiao Qingcheng introduced to everyone. This is Qian Qinian, the vice president of Tianlong Group. Mr. Qian, one of the leaders of this Tianlong Chamber of Commerce. Ji Bajuan's eyes widened. Qingcheng, are you sure you didn't recognize the wrong person? Why haven't I heard of this person? Xiao Qingcheng shook her head and said, I won't admit my mistake. Ms. Qian joined the company last month and I have met her once. Young Master Ji, you just went to Tianlong Group to ask Mr. Long to help us restore the quota for the conference. Didn't you see Mr. Qian? Ah. This. Ji Bajuan hesitated. Qian Qinian said coldly, I have never met this young Master Ji. Besides, Lord Long decided to restore the Xiao family's quota to attend the meeting. How can someone like him get involved? What a joke. Everyone present was surprised. This matter has nothing to do with young Master Ji. Then why did he say that he helped? He's just pretending to be awesome in front of us. Tisk tisk, I didn't expect him to be this kind of person. Damn it, he almost tricked me. Quote ellipsis quote. Xiao Qingcheng frowned and asked, Master Ji, what's going on? Ji Bajuan blushed and explained awkwardly, ahem, there must be a misunderstanding here. Well, I suddenly remembered that I have something urgent to do, so I'll leave first. After saying that, he ran away and left this place of trouble. At this time, Qian Qian took out an invitation letter and said, I came here specially to give the Xiao family an invitation letter for the bidding meeting tomorrow night. Xiao Hongming quickly stood up from the main seat, walked up to Qian Qian and said politely, it's such a small matter, but you have to come here in person, Mr. Qian. Thank you for your hard work. As he was about to receive the invitation letter, he found that Qian Qinian did not hand it to him. Xiao Hongming didn't understand what was going on. The rest of the people present also looked at each other. Qian Qinian smiled faintly and said, Master Xiao, this invitation letter can be given to the Xiao family, but our Lord Long said that there is a prerequisite, which is that the person who insulted him must apologize to him, and say it in front of me. Of course I have no problem apologizing, but, Xiao Hongming said with some embarrassment, but just now, Yi Tiance has left our Xiao family. Xiao Qingcheng also said, Boss Qian, if it really doesn't work, I can apologize to Lord Long on his behalf. Is that okay with you? Yi Tiance. Qian Qinian shook his head and said, it's not him, I don't know him either. Lord Long said that one of the people who insulted him claimed to be Mr. Xiao's younger brother, and the other claimed to be your mother. Wow. When these words were spoken, everyone in the audience was shocked. Countless eyes fell on Zhang Hilan and Xiao Nan. The two of them were trembling all over, feeling as if they were sitting on pins and needles. Damn, I've been discovered. Xiao Hongming said gloomily, give me an explanation. Xiao Nan gritted his teeth and argued, Grandpa, this must be a frame-up. How can we have the guts to insult Master Long? Xiao Hongming slapped Xiao Nan in the face. Bullshit. How could Lord Long, who is his status, wrongly accuse you? Today you must honestly explain what happened. If you hide anything, don't blame me for punishing you according to my family rules. Xiao Nan turned pale with fear. Grandpa, please don't, I'll tell you. I'll tell you everything. Then, Xiao Nan told the story of humiliating Yi Tiance and insulting Zhao Heilong at the Yi family cemetery, and how he came back to frame Yi Tiance without hiding anything. After saying that, Zhang Hilan and Xiao Nan, mother and son, immediately knelt on the ground, confessed their mistakes, and apologized to Long Yi. He even slapped himself in the face, making loud slapping sounds. At this moment, Xiao Qingcheng was so angry that she was shaking all over. No wonder Yi Tiance hit his brother. It turned out that her brother and mother were making unreasonable demands for money, and even kicked her grandfather's tombstone on the anniversary of his family's death. Anyone would hit someone if they were bullied like this. In addition, his mother confused right and wrong and framed others, which led him to believe their words and wrongly accused Yi Tiance again and again. Regret surged in my heart. Xiao Hongming was so angry that he cursed, you two have lost your conscience. You misled me and wronged Tiance. I am sorry for his grandfather and the Yi family. As he spoke, Xiao Hongming suddenly felt a sharp pain in his chest. Puff! A mouthful of blood spurted out. He fainted directly. Grandfather! Master! In an instant, everyone rushed over in panic, and the entire Xiao family was in chaos. Ellipsis. Evening. Tianlong Hotel, the most luxurious hotel in Jiangnan City. At this time, there was a very beautiful woman in a snow-white dress sitting by the window on the first floor, seemingly waiting for something. Guests at surrounding tables discussed. Isn't that Han Ruian, the daughter of the richest man? Her incurable disease has been cured. I heard that someone was cured today when the Han family was looking for a bride. He came here to wait for someone right after recovering from a serious illness. Who is so lucky? Look, someone is coming. At this time, a handsome young man in simple clothes sat down opposite Han Ruian. Yi Tiance got straight to the point and asked, what's the matter with calling me here? Do you have to meet me to discuss it? If the woman had not been so firm on the phone that she insisted on meeting him, and if she had not been one of the fiancés designated by his master, he really would not have wanted to come. Han Ruian took out 2 gold bank cards from her Hermes bag and placed them on the table. There are 10 million in each of these 2 cards, keep them safe. Yi Tiance drank his tea and asked, what do you mean? Han Ruiyan raised his chin with a cold and arrogant look on his face. 10 million of this is a reward to thank you for saving me, the remaining 10 million is to ask you to stop playing hard to get with me in the future and stop pestering me. Yi Tiance almost spit out a mouthful of tea. Ms. Han, are you sure? I've only met you once before, so why am I playing hard to get with you? A mistake. Haha. Han Ruiyan seemed to see through everything. From the time you proposed to break off the engagement to the time you rejected the 3 million yuan my mom gave you, weren't you just deliberately creating a persona to attract my parents' attention? It just so happened that Mr. Long's call caused my dad to misunderstand you, and he actually asked me to talk to you again. He is really getting old and confused. I admit that your tricks to get me are very clever, but you can't hide it from me. For the sake of our engagement, take the money and leave, and give yourself a decent life. I, the daughter of the richest man in Jiangnan, will never take second-hand goods thrown away by others. Yi Tiance was almost laughing out of anger. I don't understand, why are you so confident when you are so ordinary? What happened to the daughter of the richest man? In his eyes, the richest man in the small Jiangnan city is no different from a beggar. How do you talk? Han Ruiyan was extremely angry. She had been surrounded by countless halos since she was a child and had many suitors, but no one had ever said that she was ordinary. Yi Tiance said calmly, I am just telling the truth. If Miss Han doesn't like to hear it, just plug your ears. You. Han Ruiyan was about to explode. A voice suddenly shouted at Yi Tiance, how dare you humiliate Union? Do you think your life is too long? Chapter 11. What about the Ji family? A young man in a suit and tie with a bandage on his head came over. It was Ji Boxiao, the second son of the Ji family. He said softly to Han Ruiyan, Union, you have just recovered from a long illness, there is no need to be angry with this kind of person, Brother Xiao will help you decide. Han Ruiyan glanced at Ji Boxiao and didn't want to pay attention to him. This guy had pursued me many times before, and I couldn't drive him away. Ji Boxiao didn't feel embarrassed at all. He narrowed his eyes and threatened Yi Tiance. You made me look so hard. I order you to kneel down and apologize to Union immediately, and then crawl out like a dog, otherwise. Yi Tiance raised his eyebrows and asked, what else? Ji Boxiao said in an overbearing manner, otherwise, I will let you see the horror of the Jiangnan Ji family. Ever since his trip to the Han family to propose marriage was ruined today, he has hated Yi Tiance to the core. Now that he suddenly meets him by chance, he naturally will not let him go. Han Ruiyan said impatiently, Ji Boxiao, my business has nothing to do with you, please go away. Ji Boxiao said with a dog-licking look, Union, no matter who provokes you, it's against me. Don't worry, I will know how to handle it. As he said this, he suddenly slammed the table hard. Didn't you hear what I said? Or are you a useless son-in-law who was kicked out by the Xiao family and you don't take our Ji family seriously? This action attracted many customers to come over. Yi Tiance smiled and said, what is there in the Ji family that I should take seriously? Is it your father Ji Wuli? Is it your brother Ji Bajuan? Or is it you Ji Boxiao? Tisk tisk, look at your 3 names, one is weak, one is short, and one is small, aren't they all describing reality? As soon as these words were spoken, many customers couldn't help but laugh out loud. The names of these 3 guys are really funny. Even Han Ruiyan's cheeks flushed. He glared at Yi Tiance fiercely. This bastard, what kind of lewd words are he saying in public? You're looking for death. Ji Boxiao's face turned red with anger and he let out an angry roar. A punch went straight to Yi Tiance's face. He believed that with the taekwondo skills he had learned over 2.5 years, he could at least break Yi Tiance's nose. However, the next moment, his eyes blurred. With a bang, the whole person flew backwards and fell heavily to the ground, completely dizzy. Ah! Some timid customers screamed in fear. Even Han Ruiyan opened his eyes wide and didn't see clearly what happened in that instant. Da. Immediately afterwards, the hotel manager hurried over with a group of security guards. Who dares to cause trouble in the Tianlong Hotel? The hotel manager Sun Jun glanced around and shouted in a deep voice. The customers were all silent and dared not look at him. As we all know, Tianlong Hotel is one of the companies under the Tianlong Group and has a strong background. In Jiangnan City, no one dared to cause trouble in the Tianlong Hotel. Ji Boxiao struggled to stand up, grimacing in pain. When Sun Jun saw Ji Boxiao, he asked with a flattering look on his face, Second Master Ji, what's going on? Who provoked you? Ji Boxiao pointed at Yi Tiance and said angrily, Manager Sun, he was the one who beat me up. This bastard deliberately caused trouble in the Tianlong Hotel. Don't let him go. Swish. Sun Jun and the security guards behind him all looked at Yi Tiance. Sun Jun put on an arrogant look and said, "Boy, you made trouble and beat people in Tianlong Hotel, do you know what the price is?" Yi Tiance said helplessly, "He was the first to attack, so I fought back." "What's the problem?" Ji Boxiao shouted, "Bullshit. You were the one who provoked me first, don't bite me recklessly." Then he said to Sun Jun, "Manager Sun, as long as you help me vent my anger today, I will repay you many times over." For Sun Jun, the truth of the conflict is not important, what is important is Ji Boxiao's promise. So he smiled and said, "Young Master Ji, you are too polite. This is all my job. How do you want to deal with this kid?" Ji Boxiao narrowed his eyes and said coldly, "I want your people to break his legs and throw him out of the restaurant. Put a sign at the door saying Yi Tiance and dogs are not allowed to enter. Let him lose face. How do you think?" When these words came out, the customers all gasped. This season, Bo Xiao is really vindictive and cruel. At the same time, I felt sorry for Yi Tiance, but I could do nothing about it. Who made him provoke someone he shouldn't have? Sun Jun smiled faintly, "Leave this little thing to me." He then called the security guards behind him and was about to take action. "Wait." At this time, Han Ruiyan stood up and spoke to stop him. Sun Jun was stunned for a moment, and asked in confusion, "Miss Han, what do you mean?" Han Ruiyan ignored him and said to Yi Tiance coldly, "As long as you apologize for insulting me just now and ask me for help, I can help you through this crisis for the sake of our engagement." Yi Tiance refused simply, "No need." Han Ruiyan was stunned and frowned, "You are facing a disaster, but you are still pretending to be sophisticated in front of me. I said I won't fall for it." Yi Tiance said speechlessly, "Miss Han, I really suggest you go see a psychiatrist. Excessive narcissism is a disease and must be treated." "You." Han Ruiyan was choked, and her chest rose and fell in anger as she said, "You don't know what's good for you. I don't care about you anymore, love you to death." Seeing this, Ji Boxiao added fuel to the fire and said, "Union, I told you long ago that this loser doesn't know what's good for him. Don't bother with him. Manager Sun, get your people to do it." Sun Jun waved his hand and was about to call for people to rush forward. Yi Tiance suddenly said, "Manager Sun, I'd like to advise you to stop now, otherwise you will lose your job and the loss will outweigh the gain." Sun Jun was almost laughing out of anger. "Boy, you made me lose my job. Who do you think you are? The owner of our restaurant? Or the higher-level chairman of the Tianlong Group, Mr. Long?" Yi Tiance put his hands in his pockets and said calmly, "Although I am not the boss of your restaurant, I can order Zhao Heilong to let your boss fire you." The words fell. Everyone looked at Yi Tiance as if he was an idiot. "What is the status of Lord Long? You said he would obey your orders. Hey man, why don't you say that you are the captain of the earth and all human beings have to listen to you?" Sun Jun couldn't help but sneered, "I really want to see how you can make Lord Long listen to you. I'm really looking forward to being fired by you, ha 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 ha." Ji Bajuan even laughed at him, "If you can fire Manager Sun, I will call you dad in public." Han Ruiyan sneered in his heart. Originally, she thought that Yi Tiance was deliberately pretending to be powerful in front of her, playing hard to get and attracting her attention. Now I think it's just that there's something wrong with my brain. Why did Grandpa get engaged to him in the first place? Fortunately, I regretted it. As for Yi Tiance, he didn't care about these people's ridicule. He took out his cell phone and called Zhao Heilong. "I'm at the Tianlong Hotel. I'll give you 1 minute to ask the hotel owner to come over and fire a manager named Sun Jun. Then hang up." This action made the surrounding customers join in the ridicule. "This kid is addicted to pretending to be cool. What do you mean come over in a minute? Do you think you're here to film a movie? You're such a clown." Sun Jun glanced at the time and said arrogantly, "Boy, there are still 15 seconds left in the countdown. If no one comes by the time, you are afraid." The words haven't been finished yet. A middle-aged man in a gray suit hurriedly ran down from upstairs and arrived in front of Yi Tiance. He said respectfully, "Mr. Yi, Chen is late and deserves death. I will fire Sun Jun right now." In an instant, the whole audience was silent. Chapter 12 Ji Boxiao calls dad. Everyone stared at the middle-aged man in amazement. "This person is the owner of Tianlong Hotel, Chen Feng. I was actually called by a phone call. What is going on?" Sun Jun looked unbelievable and said nervously, "Mr. Chen, please listen to my explanation. The thing is," Chen Feng interrupted with a sullen face, "You bastard. I won't listen to your explanation. Go to the finance department to settle your salary immediately and get out forever." Sun Jun was so frightened that he was trembling all over and could only leave in shame. Before leaving, he glared at Ji Boxiao fiercely. "It's all his fault. He has brought disaster to himself. As for Ji Boxiao, he was already confused and had no idea what was going on. Yi Tiance sneered and asked, "Didn't you just say that if I fired Sun Jun, you would kneel down and call me dad?" "Come on." Ji Boxiao's eyes twitched and he smiled awkwardly. "Brother Yi, you misunderstood, I was just joking." Yi Tiance narrowed his eyes and said coldly, "You are joking, but I am not. Either you kneel down and call me dad today, or let Mr. Chen's people break your legs and throw you out. Put a sign outside the door saying Ji Boxiao and dogs are not allowed to enter. Choose one." Ji Boxiao said bitterly. "Brother Yi, can you change another one?" "This is really." Yi Tiance said coldly. "Since you don't want to choose, I will help you choose to break your legs and throw you out." "No, no, no. Can't I choose?" Ji Boxiao clenched his fists and said through gritted teeth. Then he knelt on the ground and uttered reluctantly, "Dad." Quote. Yi Tiance raised his eyebrows and said, "Did your vocal cords fall at home? Speak louder." The corners of Ji Boxiao's mouth twitched violently. "Mr. Yi, I have fallen into your hands today, and I will take revenge." He took a deep breath and shouted loudly, "Dad! Dad! Dad!" Yi Tiance clapped his hands and said with a smile, "My dear son, Daddy will teach you to learn to be humble in the future, otherwise you will suffer a great loss, get out." Ji Boxiao stood up and didn't want to stay any longer, so he just slipped away. Because he was too nervous, he fell flat on his face when he went out. Ha ha ha. The customers laughed. Young Master Ji is well known for his tyranny in Jiangnan City. When has he ever suffered such a loss? It looks so cool. Chen Feng asked respectfully, "Mr. Yi, do you have anything else to tell me?" In fact, he knew nothing about the man in front of him. The reason he was so cautious was because Zhao Heilong had just called him. "There is only one order, you must obey Mr. Yi unconditionally." Yi Tiance shook his head. "No more, thank you for your help." Chen Feng said quickly, "What are you talking about? In the final analysis, it is all because of my failure to control my subordinates. As compensation, please accept this small gift." As he said this, he glanced at the assistant behind him. The latter quickly took out a wooden box from the office, presented it with both hands and opened it. In the square box lay a snow-white ginseng more than a foot long, emitting a faint medicinal fragrance. Seeing this, the surrounding customers exclaimed again, "Isn't this the 100-year-old snow ginseng that Chen Feng bought from the Jiangnan medicine king a few days ago? He actually gave it to him. I heard that 100-year-old snow ginseng can cure all diseases, and it's worth a fortune. Who is this kid? Is he worthy of Mr. Chen doing this?" Quote ellipsis quote. Han Ruiyan, who was standing aside, was already stunned with astonishment. She really couldn't understand how a useless son-in-law who was kicked out of the Xiao family could do all this. Ding a ling. At this moment, the cell phone on the table suddenly rang, and she subconsciously picked it up to answer the call. An anxious woman's voice came from the other side. "Yi Tiance, it's me, Xiao Qingcheng. I want to apologize to you first." Han Ruiyan replied. "I am not Yi Tiance, I am Han Ruiyan." Hearing this, the voice on the other end was visibly startled. After 2 seconds of silence, she asked, "Where's Yi Tiance? Ask him to answer the phone." At this time, Yi Tiance looked over and asked in confusion, "What are you doing with my phone?" Only then did Han Ruiyan realize that he had picked up the wrong phone in his panic. But she turned the tables and said, "I didn't do it on purpose. I want to ask you, why is it that both your phone and mine are black, and even our ringtones are the same?" Yi Tiance really didn't want to argue with her, so he took back the phone and asked, "What's the matter?" "I want to tell you." Xiao Qingcheng hesitated, then suddenly changed the topic and said, "Grandpa suddenly fell ill and was hospitalized in the first hospital. He wants to see you. You decide whether to come or not." Yi Tiance asked anxiously, "Grandpa is sick. What happened?" Beep beep tilde. But I found that the other party had hung up the phone. Think for a few seconds. He said to Chen Feng, "Boss Chen, I will accept this 100-year-old snow ginseng first. I won't take it from you for nothing." Chen Feng smiled respectfully, "It's all my duty. Hand the 100-year-old snow ginseng to Yi Tiance." Yi Tiance said to Han Ruiyan impatiently, "Ms. Han, please don't contact me again in the future. I can't bear it. Just say this and leave." Han Ruiyan was so angry that she stamped her feet and couldn't help but yelled, "Yi Tiance, don't think that I can fall in love with you just by playing hard to get. You are wishful thinking. I already have someone I like, and he's a big shot who's a million times better than you. I'll take him down when the bidding starts tomorrow night, and make you mad." Ding a ling tilde. This time, it was Han Ruiyan's cell phone that rang. It was her father Han Tianzheng calling. "Union, how's the investigation going?" Does Yi Tiance have any background? Han Ruian was already feeling unhappy, and said angrily, he has nothing. Then he hung up the phone and left Tianlong Hotel angrily. At the same time, in the box on the second floor, there was a woman who saw everything that happened on the first floor. She was wearing a silver cheongsam, had a plump figure, a beautiful face, and fiery red lips, exuding the charm of a charming queen that was captivating. A tall maid in black leather clothes and pants walked up to her and asked, "Miss, what are you looking at?" "Nothing, I just saw an interesting person." The cheongsam woman retracted her gaze and said calmly, "This time I came to Jiangnan City from the provincial capital. In addition to participating in the bidding meeting tomorrow night and expanding the Rong family's influence in Jiangnan City, I also want clues about that man. You should pay more attention to look for it." The maid whispered, "Miss, is it worth it for you to be with a man you have never met? Besides, the engagement you have." The cheongsam woman said firmly, "I have never seen the other half of the engagement, I don't even know his name, let alone want to know. I, Rong Meiyan, will not agree to that engagement." Ellipsis. 8 o'clock in the evening, Jiangnan City First Hospital. Yi Tiance rushed to the door of the ward and saw many members of the Xiao family. When they saw Yi Tiance, their expressions subconsciously turned into disgust. In their opinion, although the Xiao family's invitation was cancelled and it was clarified that it had nothing to do with Yi Tiance, it still could not change the fact that Yi Tiance was a waste. Zhang Hilan and Xiao Nan were also there, their cheeks were red and swollen, with obvious marks of the slap. "This was all caused by kneeling down and slapping myself in the face when I confessed at home. It still hurts now." Zhang Hilan asked in a bad tone, "What are you doing here?" Yi Tiance answered truthfully, "Qingcheng called and said that grandpa suddenly fell ill, so I came to visit him." Xiao Nan was dissatisfied and scolded, "My grandfather is sick, what does it have to do with you, an outsider? You useless thing, get out of here." In his opinion, the fact that the mother and son insulted Zhao Heilong was exposed, which led to their punishment. "It must be Yi Tiance who is doing this secretly, although I don't know how he did it." The rest of the Xiao family also complained. "Why are you here to visit the head of the family? It's obvious that you hate our Xiao family for kicking you out, and you came here on purpose to make fun of yourself. We don't need your hypocrisy, get out of here as soon as possible. Don't think that just because our Xiao family has regained its quota in the Chamber of Commerce and is about to win a 10 billion yuan order, we want to come back and continue to cling to their thighs. No way." Quote. Seeing the faces of these people, Yi Tiance frowned. "Your kindness is taken for granted. Since you don't need my visit, forget it. Turn around and leave," etc. Just then, the door of the ward opened and Xiao Qingcheng walked out. Chapter 13. You are breeding ginseng. Xiao Qingcheng looked at Yi Tiance with a complicated expression. She had intended to apologize for wrongly accusing Yi Tiance, but when she thought about how he had just been with Han Ruian, she felt inexplicably uncomfortable and found it difficult to speak. Yi Tiance didn't know what she was thinking at the moment, so he asked directly, "How is grandpa?" Xiao Qingcheng regained her composure and replied calmly, "The doctor said that he was suffering from a heart attack due to anxiety. He is out of danger now and has just laid down to rest. We cannot disturb him." Yi Tiance nodded and said, "Okay, then I won't go in. Since the old man is out of danger, there is no need for him to stay here, so he plans to leave the 100-year-old snow ginseng behind and leave. Hand over the wooden box. This is for grandpa. It will be good for his recovery." Before Xiao Qingcheng took the wooden box, Zhang Hilan stepped forward, snatched it and opened it. After seeing what was inside, he stuffed it back into Yi Tiance's hand with a look of disgust. "What do you think I am? How dare you give away this farmed ginseng that's sold out on the street? Take it back to where you got it from." Yi Tiance explained, "This is a 100-year-old snow ginseng, which can cure all kinds of diseases. It is a very precious medicinal material." Zhang Hilan said disdainfully, "Do you think I'm stupid? What 100-year-old snow ginseng? I've never even heard of it. It's obviously fake ginseng. Even 9 yuan and 90 fen on Taobao with free shipping is too expensive for me." Xiao Nan also said sarcastically, "You can even boast that a fake ginseng is a 100-year-old snow ginseng that can cure all diseases. If it is a white radish, I'm afraid you can also boast that it is a 10,000-year-old supreme radish, and eating it will make you immortal, right?" Everyone in the Xiao family present burst into laughter. This rubbish, for the sake of his pitiful dignity, how can he brag about it? Even Xiao Qingcheng shook her head helplessly. She didn't understand why Yi Tiance never knew how to be down to earth and had to do all these empty things. Just then, a young man in a suit and tie appeared in front of everyone. It was Ji Bajuan. He greeted Xiao Qingcheng attentively. "Qingcheng, I heard that the head of the Xiao family was ill, so I came to see him." Xiao Qingcheng responded in an unhappy tone, "You don't have to worry about my grandfather's affairs." Ji Bajuan didn't feel embarrassed either. He knew that Xiao Qingcheng was angry because he lied about asking Zhao Heilong for help. "Qingcheng, I did exaggerate the matter of the Chamber of Commerce quota, but the truth is definitely not what you think. Without my efforts, Lord Long would not have changed his mind." Xiao Qingcheng frowned. "What do you mean?" Ji Bajuan said seriously, "To be honest, this is all thanks to my dad. I begged him to help, and he called Lord Long to communicate. Naturally, it was successful. I should have told the truth, but in the heat of the moment, I took all the credit for myself. Now that I think about it, I really regret it." Everyone in the Xiao family nodded suddenly. Not long ago, they were still discussing the reason why Zhao Heilong changed his mind, but they couldn't think of it. Now after listening to Ji Bajuan's explanation, everything makes sense. Puff. At this moment, Yi Tiance couldn't help laughing out loud. He had never seen anyone so shameless in his life. Ji Bajuan's face darkened. "What are you laughing at? Is there anything wrong with what I said?" Yi Tiance said calmly. "You know whether you were right or wrong. I remind you that if you use a lie to cover up another lie, you can only use more lies to make up for it in the end." "You." Ji Bajuan was so confused that he stammered. Zhang Hilan scolded Yi Tiance, "You useless thing. When is it your turn to interrupt here? If it's not young Master Ji's father who is helping, who else could it be?" Then she said to Ji Bajuan gently, "Young Master Ji, you don't have to get angry with that kind of person. Auntie believes in you. Although you lied before, it is understandable. After all, it was for Qingcheng's sake." Ji Bajuan's face lit up with joy. "I thought this stupid old woman really knows how to assist." So he struck while the iron was hot and said, "Aunt, you were right. I promise not to make such a mistake again. By the way, this is the red Ganoderma lucidum that I bought for Master Xiao at a high price. It is absolutely a great tonic." He opened the gift box in his hand, which contained a piece of red Ganoderma lucidum the size of a palm leaf fan, emitting a medicinal fragrance. Zhang Hilan's eyes lit up. "Master Ji, this Ganoderma lucidum must be very valuable, right?" Ji Bajuan pretended to be humble and said, "It's just over 1 million, it's nothing." Everyone in the Xiao family was amazed at once. A gift worth over 1 million was truly generous. Comparing it with the fake ginseng sent by Yi Tiance, there is a world of difference. Ji Bajuan said sarcastically to Yi Tiance, "Remember, learn from me when giving gifts. Give the best gifts instead of worthless garbage." Yi Tiance said calmly, "What's so good about a fake Ganoderma lucidum that I should learn? What's more, it's poisonous." As soon as these words were spoken, the whole place fell silent. Fake Ganoderma. Poisonous. Everyone looked at Ji Bajuan. The latter's face immediately darkened. "Bullshit. I asked my friend to buy this red Ganoderma lucidum, how can it be fake Ganoderma lucidum? You are slandering me, I want you to apologize." Zhang Hilan said disdainfully, "You are a gigolo, how can you know what Lingzi is?" "Shut up." Everyone in the Xiao family who was still shocked a second ago now came to their senses. They all accused Yi Tiance. "I almost got fooled by you. Young Master Ji is a person of such status, why would he send fake Ganoderma lucidum? I think you just don't accept young Master Ji's red Ganoderma lucidum and are deliberately smearing him." Xiao Qingcheng felt exhausted and said with a gloomy face, "Yi Tiance, you shouldn't have slandered young Master Ji. Apologize." Quote, "In the past, Yi Tiance might have given in and listened to her. But now, there is no need." He just walked up and grabbed the red Ganoderma lucidum, and with a click, he broke it in half. This action scared everyone and made them change their expression. "Is this kid crazy?" Ji Bajuan shouted, "You bastard. This red Ganoderma lucidum is worth $1 million. If it's damaged, can you afford the compensation?" Yi Tiance ignored it and pointed at the black color in the middle of the Ganoderma lucidum and said, "The root of the real red Ganoderma lucidum is red, but this one is purple-black. The real Ganoderma lucidum tastes slightly bitter, which is like a good medicine, but this one is fragrant. Judging from the texture of the cap, it is not red Ganoderma lucidum at all. And it is not even Ganoderma lucidum, but a poisonous red giant mushroom, which is highly toxic. If you take it, your life will be in danger. If you don't believe me, check it out on the internet." A relative of the Xiao family said in disbelief, "Let's check it out." Then he was dumbfounded, because this was indeed not red Ganoderma lucidum, but a giant poisonous red mushroom. Now everyone is confused. Zhang Hilan and Xiao Nan opened their mouths wide in disbelief. He originally wanted to mock Yi Tiance, but instead got slapped in the face. It hurt so much. Xiao Qingcheng's face felt even hotter. Yi Tiance brought the poisonous red mushroom to Ji Bajuan and asked coldly, "You gave this to Grandpa, are you trying to kill someone?" Do you know how many years you will be sentenced to? This. Ji Bajuan was so scared that he was sweating all over. He actually didn't understand how the red Ganoderma lucidum could have turned into a giant poisonous red mushroom. I had no choice but to explain. I didn't do it on purpose. It must be my friend who bought the Lingzi for me. What I said is true. Tiance said. Whether it is true or not, we will know after calling the police. Ji Bajuan's face turned pale. At this time, Zhang Hilan stepped forward to help him out and said, Master Ji has already said that he didn't mean it. You are still staring at him, right? Even if they sent the wrong Ganoderma lucidum, at least they spent money and showed their thoughtfulness. Isn't it much better than you sending a worthless fake ginseng? Xiao Nan followed up with an angry shout. In my opinion, your fake ginseng is the real poison. You must be holding a grudge against our Xiao family and want to kill Grandpa. I won't let you succeed, you bastard. As he spoke, he suddenly grabbed the 100-year-old snow ginseng and threw it on the ground. Lift your feet in full view of everyone and snap. It was crushed to pieces in an instant. Chapter 14 Purple Gold Palace. Tiance's face darkened. Do you know what you have done? Xiao Nan said arrogantly. Isn't it just that I crushed your fake ginseng to stop you from poisoning my grandfather? What's wrong with that? Tiance clenched his fists and said to Xiao Qingcheng, your brother should be disciplined. Xiao Qingcheng frowned and said, Xiao Nan did something a bit too much, but he just stepped on a fake ginseng, it's not a big deal, what else do you want? Tiance was stunned at first, then shook his head in disappointment and said, very good, I hope you won't regret it. After saying this, he turned around and left without any more lingering feelings. Zhang Hilan spat on the ground. Pa. You useless thing is just trying to be mysterious. What is there for us to regret? At this time, the hospital director Wu Xingye came over and said. Although Patriarch Xiao is out of danger, his vitality is seriously damaged. He needs precious medicine to recover. Please look for it. Xiao Qingcheng asked quickly. Dean Wu, what kind of precious medicine do you need? Please recommend it to me. Wu Xingye replied. I heard that some time ago, someone bought a 100-year-old snow ginseng from the Zhongnan medicine king at an auction. If Master Xiao takes it, not only can he cure the disease but he can even prolong his life. I don't know who bought it at the auction, but I can ask someone to find out. When I heard the words, 100-year-old snow ginseng, Xiao Qingcheng's delicate body trembled. It seemed like he was thinking of something very terrible. She pointed at the ginseng that Xiao Nan had trampled on the ground and said, President Wu, is this the century-old snow ginseng you mentioned? Oh. Wu Xingye bent down and picked up the ginseng residue and broken ginseng roots to observe them. Suddenly his eyes widened. This is the 100-year-old snow ginseng. It is of top quality. Where did you get it? Why is it broken like this? Facing Wu Xingye's questioning, Xiao Qingcheng awkwardly gave a brief account of what had happened. Wu Xingye was so angry that his beard was shaking. This 100-year-old snow ginseng is worth at least 5 million, and it's in short supply. Even I've only seen it a few times, and you guys are wasting it like this. It's a waste of a natural treasure. Hearing this, everyone in the Xiao family was heartbroken. Who would have thought that that loser Tiance was telling the truth? Ginseng worth 5 million was destroyed just like that. Ji Bajuan's face also felt burning with pain. Xiao Qingcheng bit her lips tightly, her breathing became heavier, and her heart felt a sharp pain. She actually misunderstood Tiance again. Forcefully regaining her composure, she asked, Dean Wu, can this century-old snow ginseng still be used? Wu Xingye shook his head. 100-year-old snow ginseng is different from other ginsengs. It must be preserved intact to exert its efficacy. Now it has rotted like this, and the medicinal effect has dissipated. It is not worth much. Xiao Qingcheng was so angry that she slapped Xiao Nan in the face. It's all your fault that you stepped on the 100-year-old snow ginseng. What should I do now? The rest of the Xiao family members also pointed fingers at Xiao Nan and complained constantly. Xiao Nan was like a quail, lowering his head and keeping silent. He blamed Tiance in his heart for not explaining it clearly earlier, which made him embarrassed at this moment. After Wu Xingye left, everyone in the Xiao family began to discuss, curious about where Tiance got the century-old snow ginseng. Zhang Hilan gnashed her teeth and said, he must have stolen it from somewhere. This kid has the most filthy hands. But Xiao Qingcheng didn't believe this statement. The 100-year-old snow ginseng was so precious, how could it be stolen so easily? It must have been given as a gift. But she couldn't figure out who it was. But no matter what, this time she misunderstood Tiance's feelings. Next time we meet, I'll explain it clearly. Soon, she regained her composure and said, I'll think of a way to deal with the Chinese medicine. The bidding meeting will be held tomorrow night, so I'll go back to the company to prepare the materials. Mom, I'll trouble you and your brother to take care of Grandpa for the next 2 days. Zhang Hilin nodded. Okay, then go quickly. Xiao Qingcheng left quickly. Qingcheng, I have some information to share with you. I'll go to the company with you. Ji Bajuan quickly chased after him. The rest of the Xiao family also left one after another, and finally only Zhang Hilin and her son were left. After a while, the call bell in the ward rang. Zhang Hilin and Xiao Nan went in immediately. It turned out that Xiao Hongming had woken up. Zhang Hilin asked, Dad, are you feeling better? Xiao Hongming nodded and asked weakly, I asked Qingcheng to call Tiance, is he here? Zhang Hilin and Xiao Nan looked at each other. Then Xiao Nan said, Grandpa, don't mention that ungrateful bastard. He never came here and even said that we should sever our relationship and stop associating with each other in the future. Xiao Hongming was a little unconvinced. How could this happen? He shouldn't be that kind of person. I'll call him and bring my phone over. Xiao Nan quickly advised, Grandpa, calling now will only make you more angry and worsen your condition. It's better to have a good rest and pretend that you never knew Yi Tiance. Well, Xiao Hongming sighed in disappointment and closed his eyes again. Ellipsis. 10 o'clock in the evening, Purple Gold Palace. This is the most luxurious villa area in Jiangnan City, located on Zijin Mountain. The Zijin Tiangong Villa No. 1 at the top of the mountain is priced at 1 billion yuan. At this time, Yi Tiance was standing at the door of the villa, entered the password, pushed open the door and walked in swaggeringly. The villa is decorated luxuriously and grandly, like a palace. This kid's lair is pretty good. Considering that he gave me his villa, I'll keep him in prison for fewer years. Yi Tian nodded with satisfaction. In fact, the original owner of this villa was Jiangnan God of War, Lin Feng. Relying on his unique kung fu skills, this man became the strongest man in Jiangnan City in just a few years. He was awarded the title of God of War and was highly respected. However, 3.5 years ago, this man was full of confidence and went to that place alone to challenge the masters. Few people know that that place is actually an isolated island prison called Fallen City. The most vicious criminals in the world are imprisoned. There is the biggest terrorist leader of Iran, the top assassin who assassinated the emperor, and a wealthy man with a net worth of trillions. Master Yi Tiance is the warden of the prison and is respected as the old master by the criminals. Yi Tiance is the young master. The master and apprentice hold the power of life and death in their hands. No matter how arrogant a man is, he can only kneel down and submit to them in front of their master and disciple. Ever since the master went out traveling 5 years ago, Yi Tiance has been the supreme ruler of the fallen city. In order to suffer less, those serious criminals flattered Yi Tiance in various ways. Money, power, connections, etc. are all contributed. 3.5 years ago, Jiangnan God of War Lin Feng broke into the fallen city, claiming to wipe out all the masters. As a result, he was knocked down by Yi Tiance with a slap in the face. Because Lin Feng kicked down the gate of the fallen city, he was punished by Yi Tiance and locked up in the fallen city for 10 years, and was responsible for cleaning the toilets. At this point, Lin Feng seemed to have disappeared out of thin air, and there was no news of him anymore. 3 years ago, when Yi Tiance left the fallen city, in order to show goodwill, Lin Feng took the initiative to give him the villa, hoping that Yi Tiance could lock him up for fewer years. However, after Yi Tiance returned to Jiangnan City and married Xiao Qingcheng, he has been living in the Xiao family. So, this was his first time to come to this villa. Yi Tiance leaned back on the sofa, took out the remaining marriage certificates from his bag, opened them one by one and took a quick look at them. 1 marriage certificate was returned today, leaving 8 marriage certificates. The other 8 are not in Jiangnan City, so I need to go to them one by one. The nearest one is Rong Meiyan from the Rong family in the provincial capital. I heard that the Rong family is one of the 4 major families in the provincial capital, and its power is far greater than the 3 major families in Jiangnan City. After I finish dealing with the things on hand, I will go to the Rong family first. Yi Tiance closed the marriage certificate and put it in his bag. Just as he was about to take a shower, the doorbell of the villa suddenly rang. Through surveillance, I saw a strange beauty wearing a silver cheongsam and looking very charming standing outside the door. Chapter 15 Tender Chamber. Outside the door, the cheongsam woman said, Jiangnan War God, I see the lights are on in the villa, are you there? Yi Tiance frowned slightly, thinking that Lin Feng had disappeared for 3.5 years, why would a woman come to see him? Could it be that she was the romantic debt that Lin Feng had incurred? You know what, this sexy style is exactly what that guy likes. Forget it, it's better not to deal with such a woman. Just pretend you didn't see it. Yi Tiance blocked the doorbell, turned around and went to the bathroom to take a shower and prepare to rest early. After all, the bidding chamber is waiting for him tomorrow night. The unaware Cheongsam woman continued, I am Rong Meiyan from the Rong family in the provincial capital. I have long admired your heroic deeds. Since you suddenly disappeared 3.5 years ago, I have been looking for news about you. I am very happy to see you back today. If possible, can you come out and see me? However, several minutes passed and she received no response. Zhongnan, god of war, I won't bother you anymore. I'll come visit you again when I have time. Rong Meiyan turned and left, walking all the way to the gate of the villa area on the mountainside. There was a tall maid waiting there. Seeing the unconcealable joy on Rong Meiyan's face, she asked, Miss, haven't you come to see the Zhongnan god of war's villa several times? Why are you so happy today? Rong Meiyan smiled and said, you don't know, but the lights are on in the Zhongnan war god's villa today. What does that mean? He's back after disappearing for 3.5 years. Real. The maid was full of excitement. What girl wouldn't regard Zhongnan god of war as an idol like him? Rong Meiyan nodded and said, it's a pity that he didn't come out to see me. But I can understand it. After all, he rarely showed up back then. Even if he did, he wore a mask. No one had ever seen his true face. Then she suddenly thought of something and ordered, immediately buy a villa in the Zijin Villa district. The closer to the Zhongnan god of war's villa number 1, the better. Yes. Rong Meiyan turned around and looked at the villa at the top with a charming look. As the saying goes, those who are close to water get the moon first. If we can get your help, our Rong family in the provincial capital will be able to expand in Zhongnan city even more powerfully. If my relationship with you can be further developed, I will have a reason to reject the family's marriage proposal and won't have to marry that fiancé whose name I don't even know. However, she didn't know that the owner living in villa number 1 was no longer the god of war of Zhongnan. It was exactly the fiancé she didn't want to marry. Ellipsis. The next evening, Genting Hotel. At the entrance, there were many luxury cars and high-ranking officials and wealthy businessmen gathered here to attend the bidding conference tonight. Yi Tiance just came here from villa number 1 of Zijin Heavenly Palace. A red Maserati stopped in front of him, and a woman about 1.7 meters tall in a red dress got out of the car. She has long legs, exquisite facial features, and a perfect figure that exudes a unique and cold temperament. It was Han Ruiyan. Originally, she was going to come with her father Han Tianzheng tonight, but the family company had an urgent matter that needed Han Tianzheng's attention, so Han Ruiyan came alone. Han Ruiyan directly blocked Yi Tiance's way. What a coincidence, we meet here. Are you also here to attend the bidding conference? Yi Tiance frowned and didn't want to pay any attention to this narcissistic young lady. Please let me go. Han Ruiyan did not do so. Tell me one thing and I'll get out of the way. What's up? Who did you call last night to fire Sun Jun? Or, what is your relationship with Long Yi? Facing Han Ruiyan's question, Yi Tiance answered simply, no comment. Han Ruiyan gritted his teeth in anger. She could never understand how the useless son-in-law who was kicked out by the Xiao family could make Chen Feng obey and fire Sun Jun. Could it be that he really knew Lord Long? Then does he know the big man behind Long Yi? If you know him, can you ask him what the big shot's hobbies are? This way she can do her homework in advance. Well, I happened to meet Yi Tiance here today, so I stopped him and asked him. I didn't expect the other party to say a word. This bastard really played hard to get to the extreme. Just as she was thinking about how to get the answer from Yi Tiance. 2 women were walking towards us. The most dazzling one among them was a woman wearing a white hip skirt, a pair of long black stockings, and exuding a cool aura. It was Xiao Qingcheng who came with assistant son. Yi Tiance, last night I actually. When Xiao Qingcheng was about to explain the misunderstanding in the hospital last night, he suddenly caught a glimpse of the beautiful woman in a red dress next to him. No matter her appearance, figure or temperament, she is not inferior to me at all. Especially the outline, which is even more magnificent than her own 36D. When Yi Tiance saw Xiao Qingcheng, a complex look flashed across his eyes, and he asked calmly, what can Mr. Xiao do for you? Nothing. Xiao Qingcheng shook his head, but his eyes uncontrollably looked at the woman next to him. Who is she? Why did he appear next to Yi Tiance? At this time, Han Ruiyan also noticed Xiao Qingcheng. For some reason, she caught a sense of hostility in the other's eyes. There was a sly flash in her eyes, and she took the initiative to reach out to Xiao Qingcheng and said hello. Let me introduce myself, my name is Han Ruiyan. Xiao Qingcheng also extended her hand and said, hello, Xiao Qingcheng. Even though her expression was calm at the moment, her heart was already in turmoil. So this woman is Han Ruiyan. Did Yi Tiance really succeed in finding a wife for the Han family? It must be. Otherwise, Han Ruian would not have been the first to answer the phone call last night. Now we won't stand together. Thinking of this, Xiao Qingcheng felt inexplicably irritated. At this moment, Han Ruian seemed to have thought of something, and whispered in Yi Tiance's ear, "This time, I will help you to hold the scene, remember to answer my question later." Yi Tiance frowned. "No need." Han Ruian turned a deaf ear to him and raised his chin slightly and said, "So you are Yi Tiance's ex-wife. I've heard so much about you. I've heard so much about you." Although the words were gentle, the attitude was quite aggressive. Xiao Qingcheng bit her lower lip, feeling aggrieved. "Although I was the one who proposed the divorce, you turned around and showed off in front of me with other women. Is this your nature?" Xiao Qingcheng sneered in response, "I am indeed his ex-wife. If I had discovered earlier that he was half-hearted about marriage, I would have filed for divorce earlier." Hearing this, Yi Tiance was a little unhappy and said in a cold voice, "You are the one who is indecisive, right? Before you filed for divorce, you were already having an affair with the one from the Ji family." Xiao Qingcheng frowned and was about to explain that she and Ji Bajuan were just partners. A familiar voice suddenly sounded behind him, "What's wrong with Qingcheng and me? They are a match made in heaven. It's a billion times better than being with a good-for-nothing loser like you, right?" Ji Bajuan appeared in a white suit. He walked up to Xiao Qingcheng and praised her, "Qingcheng, you look so beautiful today. I believe you will be the brightest star at the Chamber of Commerce tonight." Xiao Qingcheng seemed a little reluctant and said, "That may not be the case." Ji Bajuan was stunned for a moment, then he noticed Han Ruian next to Yi Tiance, and his eyes suddenly widened. Wow, she is worthy of being the eldest daughter of the Han family. Her appearance is not inferior to Xiao Qingcheng. Metaphorically speaking, Xiao Qingcheng is a cold lotus that can only be admired from afar and not played with. Han Ruian is a blooming peony, standing proudly and incomparable. Both have their merits. Of course, the waves on Han Ruian's chest are obviously more magnificent. This made Ji Bajuan feel even more resentful towards Yi Tiance. "You were kicked away by Xiao Qingcheng, and then you hugged a more wealthy and beautiful woman. What kind of luck is that?" He smiled and reminded Han Ruian, "Miss Han, I advise you to stay away from this trash named Yi. It's better to get to know my brother more." Unexpectedly, Han Ruian said with a look of disdain, "Forget it. He only knows how to kneel down and call people dad in public. I can't afford to lose face like that." Chapter 16 Han Ruian vs Xiao Qingcheng. Ji Bajuan's face darkened and he looked a little unhappy. When he returned home last night, he found that his younger brother Ji Baxiao had been locking himself in his room, smashing things to vent his anger. Upon asking, I learned about Ji Baxiao's humiliating experience in Tianlong Hotel, which brought shame to the Ji family. As a result, the Chamber of Commerce didn't feel comfortable coming tonight. Originally, he was curious about where Yi Tiance got his extraordinary abilities to be able to show off in the Tianlong Hotel. Now I understand. It must be Han Ruian who helped secretly and agreed with Yi Tiance in public. They teamed up to trick his brother. Ji Bajuan narrowed his eyes and said, "This Yi guy is an ungrateful person, that's why he was kicked out by Qingcheng. Miss Han, you chose to take over second-hand goods. It won't sound good if it gets out. Of course, if you don't care, forget it." Han Ruian's pupils shrank slightly. Of course she cared about this matter. But she is born with a stubborn temper and likes to go against others. She suddenly hugged Yi Tiance's arm and acted very intimately. She raised her chin and said proudly, "I am happy with it, what's it to you?" Ji Bajuan was stunned. Xiao Qingcheng was stunned. Even Yi Tiance was a little confused, and asked in a low voice, "What are you doing?" Subconsciously, he wanted to pull his hand out from between the surging waves. But Han Ruian hugged her tighter and warned her, "Don't move." Seeing this, Xiao Qingcheng's eyes flashed with loneliness, and she said self-deprecatingly, "Yi Tiance, it turns out that you have already chosen a way out. Haha, congratulations." Originally, she still had some illusions about the relationship between Yi Tiance and Han Ruian and thought it was a coincidence. Now it seems that everything is confirmed. Yi Tiance frowned. He wanted to explain, but then he thought, what would be the use even if he said it? Has she ever heard my explanation? So he didn't say anything. Xiao Qingcheng returned to her usual coldness and said, "Yi Tiance, you once said that you would make me regret filing for a divorce, but now I am absolutely sure that this is the wisest choice I have ever made." After saying this, she and assistant Sun entered Genting Hotel first. Ji Bajuan stepped forward and patted Yi Tiance on the shoulder. He sneered, "You are a piece of trash who only relies on women. You are nothing in my eyes. I will slowly settle the old scores between us with you." Yi Tiance took Ji Bajuan's hand away. "There are some old accounts. You don't need to look for me. I will also find your family and slowly settle them. Ji Bajuan didn't hear the other meaning in Yi Tiance's words, and didn't take it seriously at all. He snorted coldly and turned around to chase Xiao Qingcheng. At this time, Han Ruiyan let go of Yi Tiance's arm and kept some distance. She complained, "Humph, I almost suffocated to death. You took advantage of me so much." Yi Tiance said helplessly, "It was obviously you who took the initiative to hug me, not me. But I have to say, my arm felt quite comfortable and soft just now." "I don't care," Han Ruiyan ordered, "anyway, I am acting with you and helping you save face. You have to answer my previous question. What is your relationship with Mr. Long? Do you know the big shot behind him?" Yi Tiance said, "That big shot is me." Han Ruiyan immediately glared and said, "You are talking nonsense. Lord Long is the chairman of the Tianlong group. Even my father, the richest man, has to treat him with courtesy. How could the big man behind him be a son-in-law like you who was kicked out by the Xiao family? You know, that big shot is the man she likes. It can't be second-hand goods that others don't want." Yi Tiance rolled his eyes and said, "You keep pestering me without telling me, and if I tell you, you won't believe me. You're really hard to please. Let's go. Just run away." Han Ruiyan was so angry that she stomped her feet behind him. "You bastard, you are taking advantage of others for nothing. If you run into your ex-wife again when you go in, I won't care about you." The Chamber of Commerce hall in Genting Hotel was very lively. The guests present were either toasting each other or engaging in friendly conversation. In the middle of the hall, Assistant Sun complained unhappily, "Boss Xiao, you shouldn't have given that ungrateful bastard face outside just now. You should have given him a good beating. I can't stand his arrogance." Xiao Qingcheng said, "No matter what happens between him and me, he is at least truly filial to Grandpa, otherwise he wouldn't have given him the 1,000-year-old snow ginseng. In view of this, I can't do anything too extreme." Assistant Sun reminded him, "Why are you so confused? How can the man surnamed Yi be filial when he gave you the 1,000-year-old snow ginseng? He clearly thought that he had the upper hand over the daughter of the richest man, and he cheated the 1,000-year-old snow ginseng from her, and then he deliberately gave you the gift to show off, to prove that you were wrong to file for divorce." Xiao Qingcheng was stunned for a moment, and a hint of sadness flashed in her eyes. Could this be the truth? Ji Bajuan said angrily, "Qingcheng, you won the bid tonight and got a 10 billion order, so what if the daughter of the richest man is in front of you? What's more, I will introduce you to the big shot behind Lord Long. Once he takes a fancy to you, you will surely rise to great heights. The only one who will regret it then will be that loser." Assistant Sun asked expectantly, "Master Ji, do you really have a way to help introduce that important person?" Ji Bajuan pretended to be profound and said, "Of course." And he added mysteriously, "Not only that, the day after tomorrow is my father's 60th birthday, and that big shot will even come to celebrate. Qingcheng, you must bring your family with you then. You should know that before he came today, his father Ji Wuli had specially visited Zhao Heilong and asked Mr. Long to help the Ji family get in touch with that big shot, and was even willing to give half of his family property as a gift. Therefore, in Ji Bajuan's view, the Ji family has already boarded that giant ship." Xiao Qingcheng nodded expectantly and said, "I will definitely go to celebrate your father's birthday." Xiao Qingcheng's arrival quickly attracted the attention of many guests. The inside information about the Xiao family's internally selected winning bid had already spread, so these people came over to toast and visit. There were two middle-aged men walking in front. A man in a gray suit raised his glass and said with a smile, "Mr. Xiao, you are both talented and beautiful. I hope you will take care of me in the future business." Another person, wearing a Zhongshan suit, said kindly, "Congratulations to Mr. Xiao for winning the bid ahead of schedule. I hope we can cooperate more in the future." Xiao Qingcheng remained calm and responded calmly, but she could no longer suppress her excitement in her heart. Because these two are Lai Jingye, chairman of Ningyuan Group, and Xie Bin, chairman of Honda Group. In Zhongnan City, its influence is second only to the three major families and is far more powerful than the Xiao family. Now, he is actually being polite to me, and this is inseparable from the news of winning the bid. This made her believe it even more. After tonight, she would be proven right to file for divorce. The only one who is wrong is Yi Tiance. In the corner of the venue, Yi Tiance found a chair and sat down. He checked the time. It was only 7:10. There were still 50 minutes before the Chamber of Commerce officially started at 8 o'clock. At this time, the phone rang. It was Zhao Heilong calling. "Mr. Yi, I have two things to report to you." "Explain." Zhao Heilong said respectfully. "The first thing is that Ji Wuli just contacted me and wanted me to help him connect with you." For this, he is willing to give you half of his family property and even wants to invite you to his 60th birthday the day after tomorrow. Yi Tiance said calmly, let him go. In fact, even if Ji Wuli did not invite him, Yi Tiance had already decided to attend the birthday party. After all, the only clue to the fire in the Yi family was at the Ji family. Zhao Heilong continued, the second thing is that the final list of candidates for the bid has been reselected tonight. The electronic file has been sent to your email. Please make your choice. New. Yi Tiance hung up the phone and opened his mobile email. There are 5 final candidates, and the Xiao family is still on the list. Although the Xiao family was previously designated as the winner, to be honest, the Xiao family has no flaws in terms of strength, development potential, bid documents, etc., and is extremely competitive. Of course, this is inseparable from my secret support over the past 3 years. As for the remaining 4, 3 of them have obvious shortcomings and are not considered. Only the last one, the Hui group, is no less inferior to the Xiao family in all aspects, and some conditions are even stronger. According to the notes, although Hui group has only been established for half a year, it looks unremarkable. But the companies that competed with them before either went bankrupt or were acquired by force. They were unstoppable. After a detailed investigation, Zhao Heilong learned that the Hui group had close ties with the Black Tiger Society, the largest underground force in Zhongnan City. Very few people know this news. Yi Tiance muttered to himself, I remember that when I was in the fallen city prison, there was a dung collector named Zhang Xiaohu who did a good job and was released early. I heard that he founded an organization called the Black Tiger Society shortly after he was released. Could it be that he? At this time, a graceful woman in a white cheongsam came over. He leaned forward slightly and asked, Sir, is there anyone next to you? No one. Yi Tiance raised his head and answered subconsciously. When he saw this charming woman, he was stunned. It's you. Chapter 17 The Second Fiancé. Rong Meiyan raised her eyebrows and asked, Have you seen me? Yi Tiance suddenly realized that he almost let the cat out of the bag, so he added awkwardly, Sorry, I recognize the wrong person. He doesn't want to have anything to do with the romantic debt owed by Zhongnan god of war Lin Feng. So the two of them sat quietly and did not disturb each other. But Yi Tiance didn't know that the person next to him was exactly the second fiancé listed in his marriage certificate. Rong Meiyan also didn't know that Yi Tiance was the fiancé she didn't want to marry. Just at this moment, a weird voice suddenly sounded. Mr. Yi, I didn't expect you to sneak in as well. You must have borrowed Miss Han's help, right? Ji Bajuan walked over with a swagger. He originally planned to pour a glass of red wine, but he didn't expect to see Yi Tiance, so he came over to mock him. Yi Tiance responded coldly, Does this have anything to do with you? Ji Bajuan raised his red wine glass and said in a condescending manner, Only the rich and powerful and famous are allowed to enter the bidding conference held by Lord Long. How dare you, a son-in-law expelled from the Xiao family, sit here? Get out now. Yi Tiance's expression was calm. Ask Zhao Heilong, if he lets me go, can his Chamber of Commerce still continue to operate? Ji Bajuan immediately scolded, How dare you? Are you worthy of calling Master Long by his name? If Master Long hears about this, even Miss Han won't be able to protect you. Yi Tiance leaned back in his chair and said calmly, Why would I, Yi Tiance, need someone else to guarantee my actions? Ji Bajuan just laughed out loud. This kid is so arrogant that he has lost his mind. However, when his eyes accidentally caught sight of the cheongsam woman next to Yi Tiance, his eyes immediately widened. What a stunning woman. Different from Xiao Qingcheng's cold beauty and Han Ruiyan's proud beauty, the cheongsam girl in front of him is more charming, beautiful but not coquettish, gorgeous but not vulgar. He had never seen it before. He adjusted his tie, smiled confidently, and extended his hand to Rong Meiyan, saying, Hello, beautiful lady. I am Ji Bajuan, the eldest son of the Ji family, one of the 3 major families in Zhongnan. Nice to meet you. Rong Meiyan just nodded but did not extend her hand. Ji Bajuan awkwardly withdrew his hand and reminded, My lady, the man next to you is a disaster star. I advise you to stay away from him to avoid bad luck. Rong Meiyan first glanced at Yi Tiance, then smiled faintly, Are you asking me to do something? She had a harmless smile on her face, but her tone was full of the aura of a superior who would not tolerate any resistance. This has never been seen in his father Ji Wuli. Before he knew the other party's background, Ji Bajuan didn't dare to take any risks and could only smile awkwardly, No. I didn't mean that. Then he glared at Yi Tiance and left. He had not walked far when he ran into Han Ruiyan, who was walking towards him and looking around as if looking for something. Ji Bajuan's eyes turned and he asked, Ms. Han, are you looking for someone with the surname Yi? Han Ruian said coldly, what does it have to do with you who this lady is looking for? Of course it has nothing to do with me, but… Quote. Ji Bajuan pointed to Yi Tiance and added fuel to the fire, but that Yi is sitting with a strange beauty. They are flirting with each other, who knows what they are doing. Han Ruian followed his finger and saw Rong Meiyan beside Yi Tiance. Although she didn't know the other person, her intuition told her that the other person was not simple, and he was sitting next to Yi Tiance. She suddenly realized that Yi Tiance had no background at all, and didn't even know that big shot. The reason why he is so arrogant is entirely because of the woman next to him. This bastard not only has no ability, but he also hooks up with women everywhere. What the hell is this? Ji Bajuan asked, Miss Han, why don't you go over and take a look? Look at shit. Han Ruian said this in a bad mood and turned away. Ji Bajuan smiled smugly, Mr. Yi, now that you have lost Miss Han's protection, let's see how you can act. At this time, Xiao Qingcheng and Assistant Sun came over. Assistant Sun asked, Master Ji, where did you go just now? We have been looking for you. Ji Bajuan recounted what had just happened, of course embellishing some parts. Hearing this, Xiao Qingcheng glanced at Yi Tiance. I felt very upset and my disgust towards him increased. Assistant Sun spat, bah. This gigolo is disgusting. He kneels down and licks the rich girl whenever he sees her. I suspect he got into the Chamber of Commerce just to hook up with rich women. Ji Bajuan nodded and said, if it were up to me, this bastard with impure motives should be kicked out by the security guards. Xiao Qingcheng sighed and said, forget it, as long as he doesn't affect the Chamber of Commerce, after all, the bidding results later are more important. Assistant Sun glanced at his phone and suddenly his face changed. Boss Xiao, please check out the Jiangnan Business Forum. What happened? Xiao Qingcheng opened her phone in confusion and logged into the Jiangnan Business Forum. This is a forum specially established for the business elites in Jiangnan City, where all kinds of business insider information will be updated. 99% fidelity rate. Whether it was the Xiao family being internally selected as the winner of the bid, or the big man behind Zhao Heilong who was going to make an appearance tonight. This information was revealed from here. Just now, someone anonymously posted a message on the forum saying that the Xiao family was internally designated as the winner of the Tianlong Chamber of Commerce's bidding, but it was suddenly changed to 5 new candidates. Long Yi has already submitted it to the big shot for approval and is waiting for the final result. Various information about the 5 companies is also included below. Xiao Qingcheng looked unhappy. Why did the winning bid suddenly become 5 candidates? Assistant Sun asked in confusion, Master Ji, didn't you say you would mediate and let the Xiao family win the bid? What's going on? This. How would Ji Bajuan know what was going on? But he could only bite the bullet and explain, well, isn't the Xiao family still on the list? There are just 4 more candidates. You are excellent in all aspects. Don't worry, you will definitely win the bid. Xiao Qingcheng shook her head and said, the other 3 are fine, but the Hui group has been gaining popularity in Jiangnan City recently. It is rumored that it has a big background. I am not sure about competing with them. Ji Bajuan patted his chest and said, RG family is acquainted with that big shot. It's just a matter of winning the bid. I'll call my dad right now and make sure it's done. Xiao Qingcheng said, thank you for your help. Ji Bajuan walked to the other side and called his father Ji Wuli several times, but no one answered. In the end, he could only send a few messages to ask if he could help. At the same time, Yi Tiance has replied to Zhao Heilong's email and decided that the winning bidder is the Xiao family. This is not because he is a bootlicker and is thinking of the old friendship, but because he feels that the Black Tiger Society behind the Hui group has complicated relationships and is not suitable for cooperation. Considering the actual interests of the group, the Xiao family should be chosen. Yi Tiance stood up and went to the buffet area to pour a drink, where he happened to meet Ji Bajuan who had called back. Ji Bajuan sneered and said, coward, are you here just to eat and drink for free? Yi Tiance frowned and was about to respond. Assistant Sun hurried over and scolded, Mr. Yi, are you sick? Why do you always cause trouble for young Master Ji? Xiao Qingcheng, who came over as well, also had a rather dissatisfied expression on her face. Yi Tiance said coldly, open your eyes and see clearly, he is the one who is causing trouble, not me. Assistant Sun said disdainfully, nonsense, young Master Ji is contacting the big shot behind Lord Long to help the Xiao family win the bid, so why would he have the time to bother you? Do you think everyone is as petty as you? Try to win the bid. Yi Tiance shook his head and said, there is no need at all, because I have already decided that the Xiao family will win the bid. Chapter 18 Ji Bajuan gets beaten. Hearing this, assistant son immediately mocked, Mr. Yi, stop being funny. Do you think you are that big shot who can decide the outcome of the bid? Xiao Qingcheng said impatiently, since we have already filed for divorce, we should be clear of each other. Please don't cause me any more trouble. I'm not in the mood to joke with you. Tiance said calmly, I'm not kidding, the big shot you are talking about is me. Ji Bajuan laughed out loud, it's so funny. Who is that important person? How can a loser like you pretend to be him? If you are really him, I will eat 10 pounds of dog shit on the spot. Xiao Qingcheng held her forehead and shook her head. She thought Tiance must be crazy. At this moment, Lai Jingye, chairman of Ningyuan Group, and Xie Bin, chairman of Hongda Group, came over quickly and toasted. Boss Xiao, congratulations. You led the Xiao family to win the bid and received a 10 billion order. Here's to you. Let's hope our two groups can cooperate more in the future. Xiao Qingcheng was a little confused by this sudden scene. He explained awkwardly, to be honest, our Xiao family is going to bid with 4 companies. The specific results will only be known after the approval of that big shot. The results have not yet been announced. Lai Jingye smiled and said, Boss Xiao is really low-key. The forum news was just updated, saying that the big shot has decided that the Xiao family will win the bid. How can you say there is no result? Hearing this, Xiao Qingcheng immediately opened the mobile forum and saw the inside information that the Xiao family had won the bid. They said that at 8 o'clock sharp, Lord Long and that big shot would appear on the stage together to announce the results. Assistant Sun and Ji Bajuan also saw the news. Assistant Sun cheered and said, Great. President Xiao, we've finally succeeded. Xiao Qingcheng was equally excited, and she could finally put her mind at ease. Unexpectedly, things turned out to be just as Tiance said, and the Xiao family won the bid. But how could he know it in advance? Is it really? Xiao Qingcheng subconsciously looked at Tiance, hesitating whether to ask. Assistant Sun on the side quickly reminded, Boss Xiao, you should thank Master Ji quickly. It must be his credit that we won the bid. Xiao Qingcheng suddenly realized, yes, how could Tiance do such a thing? So he immediately thanked Ji Bajuan and said, Master Ji, thank you so much for troubling you. Ji Bajuan said calmly, it's not a big deal. After all, it was my dad who helped me. I just made a phone call. He said this modestly, but he couldn't hide the arrogance on his face. He deduced that his father must have seen the message he sent and helped. Assistant Sun glanced at Tiance and said, did you see that? Young Master Ji has great connections, but he is low-key and humble. Unlike you, you have no ability at all and can only brag and take credit. Ji Bajuan said contemptuously, Luz, after staying in the lower class for too long, likes to fantasize about being awesome, but in reality, they are shit. Tiance raised his eyebrows and asked, Ji Bajuan, what makes you think that your father helped solve this matter? Ji Bajuan shook his bangs and said proudly, if he's not my dad, how could a gigolo like you solve it? Tiance narrowed his eyes and asked, oh. Do you have any evidence that your father did it? Ji Boyuan said with a stiff upper lip, my dad has already sent me a text message saying that he did it. What's wrong? Tiance frowned. He had never seen anyone so shameless. Then how about asking young Master Ji to look up the text message and show it to everyone? But as soon as he finished speaking, Xiao Qingcheng suddenly shouted, Tiance, are you done yet? She stared at Tiance with a look of disappointment on her face. Young Master Ji has given in to you time and again, but you insisted on pushing it further. You even targeted me for no reason and lied to me for a little bit of your pitiful dignity. I didn't expect you to be this kind of person. Tiance frowned and said, do you think I am targeting you for no reason? Are you a habitual liar? Xiao Qingcheng said seriously, isn't it? Tiance burst out laughing. It turns out that the feelings of 3 years of marriage cannot even be compared with a word from an outsider. Seeing Tiance did not respond, Xiao Qingcheng thought he had agreed, and became even more annoyed. Your mean behavior will only make me more convinced that filing for divorce is the right choice and I will never regret it. In my eyes, the gap between you and young Master Ji is like heaven and earth. Ji Bajuan was overjoyed and said sarcastically, Qingcheng, there's no need to get angry with this clown. In the final analysis, it's all my fault for being too good, especially for contacting that big shot to help your family win the bid. This clown was completely defeated and became incompetent and furious. Just stay away from him from now on. Assistant Sun glared and scolded, you gigolo, didn't you hear me? Why don't you get out of here? Tiance looked at Xiao Qingcheng's heartless face and felt a dull pain in his heart. This time, he was completely disappointed. In that case, let them do whatever they want. Just as he was about to leave, A ruffian-looking yellow-haired young man came over with a cigarette in his mouth and asked Ji Bajuan with a sullen face, "You are the one who contacted that big shot and helped the Xiao family win the bid." Ji Bajuan glanced at the strange man in front of him and nodded proudly, "Exactly. Are you here to ask me to do something for you?" Bang! Unexpectedly, the yellow-haired young man punched him in the face. "Please paralyze me." Ji Bajuan's nose started bleeding and he took several steps back. Everyone present was shocked. Where did this yellow-haired guy come from? He even dared to hit young Master Ji. Li Jingye scolded, "How dare you? This is not the place for you to act wild." Xie Bin also said in a deep voice, "You bastard, apologize to young Master Ji immediately." The yellow-haired young man pointed at the two and shouted, "Shut up. This is none of your business." At this time, Ji Bajuan wiped the blood from his nose, gritted his teeth and asked angrily, "Who are you? Why did you hit me?" The yellow-haired young man said arrogantly, "Fuck you. I'm Zhang Chunlei, the boss of Huawei Group. If you hadn't interfered, how could the bid have been snatched away by the Xiao family? You're meddling in other people's business, aren't you? Today, I'm going to kill you." As he said that, he rushed forward with another punch. However, Ji Bajuan, who had learned Taekwondo, first dodged the punch, and then kicked Zhang Chunlei to the ground with a high whip kick. Ji Bajuan kicked him a few more times angrily. "Damn it, I want to get involved, so what? If you have the ability, try it again." He was feeling great about showing off, but then he got punched for nothing. He must have been so upset. Xiao Qingcheng quickly handed Ji Bajuan a tissue and said with a worried look, "I'm sorry, if it weren't for me, you wouldn't have been dragged into this and taken a punch for nothing." Ji Bajuan wiped the blood from his nose and said with a deeply affectionate look, "Qingcheng, for you, let alone shedding a little blood, I won't even blink an eye even if it means I'll lose my life." Assistant Sun couldn't help but applaud when he saw this. "Wow. Master Ji, you are so handsome and so safe." Li Jingye said, "How dare a small boss of the Huawei Group provoke young Master Ji? You don't know whether you live or die." Xie Bin echoed, "Young Master Ji is very courageous. President Xiao, you have a great eye for selecting people." A hint of warmth emerged in Xiao Qingcheng's heart. Assistant Sun glanced at Tiance and said, "Look at what young Master Ji has done for President Xiao. Look at you, you are nothing but a disgrace." Xiao Qingcheng's eyes were also full of disappointment. Sure enough, the contrast between people is greater than the difference between people and dogs. Zhang Chunlei got up and said with a ferocious face, "Damn it. You kid messed with the wrong person today. Not only will I kill you today, I will also play hard with the Xiao family woman next to you." Jibo kicked Zhang Chunlei, sending him back several steps. "Ha ha. Provoking someone you shouldn't. This is a joke. In the entire Jiangnan city, is there anyone that my Ji family can't afford to offend?" As soon as the words fell, at the door of the reception room, several ferocious-looking men in black suddenly rushed in. Surround Ji Bajuan tightly in the middle. Then, a bald man with scars all over his face walked in, and his powerful aura made people feel breathless. His cold eyes fell on Ji Bajuan. "Today I want to see if the Jiangnan Ji family can afford to offend our Black Tiger society. Chapter 19 Violators will die." So he explained with a sad face, "Mr. Zhang, please listen to me, this is all a misunderstanding." Bang! Before he could even finish, Zhang Chunlei kicked him in the stomach. Then another round of punches followed. "Misunderstanding, you're paralyzed. Damn it, where's the strength you used to hit me just now? Use it." Ji Bajuan held his head tightly and didn't dare to fight back at all. Because he knew that if he fought back against Zhang Chunlei today, he would have to pay with his life and his whole family would suffer the consequences tomorrow. Li Jingye and Xie Bin, who were standing next to Ji Bajuan before, looked at each other, took a few steps back and hid in the crowd, fearing that they would be targeted by Zhang Chunlei. Not to mention standing up to mediate. "Stop hitting me." At this moment, a cold voice sounded. Xiao Qingcheng stood out from the crowd with a serious expression. Zhang Chunlei shook his sore fist and raised his eyebrows at Xiao Qingcheng. "If you told me not to hit you, then don't hit me. Why should I listen to you?" Xiao Qingcheng frowned and said, "This matter was originally caused by the bidding between our Xiao family and your Huawei Group. It is a normal business competition. Everything is based on business means. What right do you have to hit someone?" Zhang Chunlei kicked Ji Bajuan down and walked in front of Xiao Qingcheng. He said sinisterly, "I will beat people whenever I want, are you dissatisfied?" This was the first time Xiao Qingcheng encountered such a scoundrel. She was afraid in her heart, but she pretended to be calm and said, "Please let young Master Ji go. We can discuss this matter together." Zhang Chunlei's eyes flashed with greed and he said, "No problem. But you have to agree to two conditions." Xiao Qingcheng asked, what are the conditions? Zhang Chunlei said with a lewd smile. I've heard that you are the most beautiful female CEO in Jiangnan City, President Xiao. Today I see that you are even more beautiful than the rumors, so my first condition is that you sleep with me tonight and serve me well. Xiao Qingcheng frowned and reminded, Mr. Zhang, please respect yourself. Zhang Chunlei said frivolously, I'm not well educated, and the word, self-respect, doesn't exist in my dictionary. Tisk tisk. Look at the black stockings you're wearing today, with letters on them. How do you know that I like this the most? Let me check it out. Is it strong? He bent down and touched Xiao Qingcheng's legs. Rogue. Xiao Qingcheng was so scared that she took a step back and pushed Zhang Chunlei hard. Fuck you, you little bitch. Bang. Zhang Chunlei slapped Xiao Qingcheng in the face and ordered, control this bitch. The two strong men in black brought by Feng Lei held down Xiao Qingcheng's arms. Let me go. Let me go. Xiao Qingcheng struggled violently, but to no avail. Seeing this, Assistant Sun warned Zhang Chunlei in a stern voice. This is the Tianlong Chamber of Commerce hosted by Lord Long. You hit people and disrupted the venue. Aren't you afraid of Lord Long's wrath? Zhang Chunlei sneered, isn't Lord Long still here? Besides, even if he is here, so what? At worst, I can call my uncle over. What can Lord Long do to me? Assistant Sun had no choice but to ask Ji Bajuan for help. Master Ji, you are very powerful, please think of a solution quickly. We can't let Mr. Xiao be bullied by this bastard. Ji Bajuan lowered his head like a quail, as if he didn't hear it. He didn't even dare to look at Zhang Chunhu. Zhang Chunhu smiled at Xiao Qingcheng and said, as for the second condition, it is that you give me the winning bid. You're dreaming. Xiao Qingcheng glared at Zhang Chunhu fiercely, showing no intention of giving in. You have to know that she has put in countless efforts for this bidding. It is related to the rise of the Xiao family. How could she easily transfer it to others? Zhang Chunlei raised his eyebrows, not aloud. Very good. Then he ordered Feng Lei, Brother Feng, please take action. Okay. Feng Lei walked up to Ji Bajuan, stepped on his head, bent down, and took out a dagger. The cold blade swung before Ji Bajuan's eyes, and he said grimly. Where should I start? How about cutting off the ears first? Ji Bajuan turned pale with fear and begged for mercy. Brother Feng, Grandpa Feng, please stop. I have something to say. He yelled, Qingcheng, what the hell are you hesitating about? Hurry up and give the bid to Zhang Xiao. Sleep with Zhang Xiao for a while. I don't dislike you anyway. Do you really want me to die here? Hearing this, Xiao Qingcheng's delicate body trembled violently, and a feeling of grievance, shame and anger surged in her heart. She couldn't believe that Ji Bajuan would say such a thing in order to protect himself. Could it be that what he said before about taking care of himself was all false? Xiao Qingcheng glanced at Tiance again. He just stood there as if it had nothing to do with him, drinking his drink with a calm expression. Hee. Sure enough, men are all. Zhang Chunlei struck while the iron was hot and continued to threaten Xiao Qingcheng, I think your assistant is very loyal. If you don't agree to the two conditions I put forward, believe it or not, I will hand her over to the brothers in the association to rape her. Oh, and the lives of your entire family depend on your choice. Xiao Qingcheng, who was always aloof and calm, finally couldn't hold it anymore at this moment. Tears fell down, faced with Zhang Chunlei's threat to the lives of his entire family and the safety of Assistant Sun. She didn't have any chance to resist. Complete and utter defeat, she bit her lip and said unwillingly, I agree. You, let the others go. Ha ha ha. Great. Zhang Chunlei shouted excitedly, everyone present here today, please bear witness. It was the Xiao family who took the initiative to give the winning bid to Huawei Group. I didn't force them, okay. He glanced at everyone with a cold gaze and said threateningly, if anyone objects, you can stand up and tell me. The guests around him lowered their heads, not daring to look him in the eye. This is especially true for Lai Jingye and Xie Bin. This gave Zhang Chunlei great satisfaction. But, at this moment, a voice sounded slowly, Tiance, object. Swish. At this moment, all eyes were on him. Zhang Chunlei said coldly, you object. Why? Tiance put his hands in his pockets. He said indifferently, this is because I gave the winning bid to the Xiao family. Without my permission, no one, listen to me, no one has the right to change it. Anyone who violates this will be killed. Chapter 20 Tiance takes action. Tiance's words were cold but carried strong penetrating power, like a bolt from the blue. Xiao Qingcheng's eyes were full of surprise. She didn't expect that at this moment, the person who dared to stand up was Tiance. A little further away, Han Ruian also looked over and subconsciously worried for Tiance. What on earth is this bastard doing? Is he trying to kill himself? Farther away, Rong Meiyan, wearing a white cheongsam, sat there like a queen, watching everything, seemingly lost in thought. In short, at this moment Yi Tiance is the focus of the entire venue. Zhang Chunlei looked Yi Tiance up and down. He narrowed his eyes and asked coldly, "Did the Xiao family really give the bid from you?" Yi Tiance nodded and said, "That's right. And I only have one condition for you, take your people and get out." Zhang Chunlei frowned. For some reason, he felt an invisible pressure from the man in front of him. It made him a little nervous. Could it be that he? But at this moment, Ji Bajuan, who was lying on the ground, suddenly shouted, "Mr. Zhang, he is actually Xiao Qingcheng's ex-husband who was kicked out of the house. He is just short of getting a divorce certificate. He is a piece of trash. Don't be fooled by him." As soon as this was said, the onlookers immediately started discussing. "Good fellow. It turns out that he is the loser who has been living a life of idleness in the Xiao family for 3 years. I was almost fooled by him. I thought he was some big shot." Zhang Chunlei secretly breathed a sigh of relief when he heard everyone's discussion. He turned to Ji Bajuan and said with a smile, "You bastard, you are quite sensible about the current situation, right?" Ji Bajuan immediately flattered, "Hee, this is what I should do. Please forgive me and let me go this time." Zhang Chunlei raised his hand and said, "I'll spare your life this time." Feng Lei retracted the dagger and let Ji Bajuan go. Ji Bajuan thanked Zhang Chunlei repeatedly. "The way he licks his pants is disgusting." Zhang Chunlei glared at Yi Tiance and said, "Damn it. You are a loser who only pretends to be strong and you are still talking nonsense. Do you know what the consequences of playing tricks on me are?" Yi Tiance shook his head and said, "It seems like you don't want to leave with your people." Zhang Chunlei almost laughed out loud. "You piece of trash, you're still pretending to be awesome in front of me at this hour. Or do you not know how to write the word death?" As soon as he finished speaking, 4 sturdy men in black approached. They are all filled with murderous intent, waiting for Zhang Chunlei's order to pounce. Xiao Qingcheng suddenly said, "Stop." Zhang Chunlei smiled and asked, "Oh. Miss Xiao, what can I do for you?" Xiao Qingcheng bit her lip and said, "This matter has nothing to do with Yi Tiance. I have already agreed to your 2 conditions, let him go." She said that since they had filed for divorce, they would no longer interfere with each other. Therefore, she was unwilling to involve Yi Tiance. Zhang Chunlei hesitated for a moment, then nodded and said, "Okay, I'll listen to the beauty." Then he scolded Yi Tiance, "Rubbish, did you hear me? Your wife, no, I should say your ex-wife is the one who let you go, why don't you get out of here right now?" Yi Tiance remained unmoved. Zhang Chunlei smiled sinisterly, "Not leaving. I understand. I heard that you and Xiao Qingcheng have been married for 3 years and have not had any physical contact, so you want to see me sleep with her. When I'm done, why don't you queue up behind me? Haha, it's not impossible, just kneel down and call me grandpa." Ha ha ha. The brothers from the Black Tiger Society burst into laughter. Yi Tiance shook his head and said, "You asked for this." Suddenly, he flashed and rushed in front of Zhang Chunlei. "Raise your right hand and swing it down." Bang! A heavy slap knocked Zhang Chunlei to the ground, his mouth full of blood. Silence. The entire venue was so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. No one expected that Yi Tiance would have the courage to attack Zhang Chunlei. Ji Bajuan's eyes widened, and he yelled at Yi Tiance, "Mr. Yi, are you fucking crazy? You even dared to hit young Master Zhang. Do you want to drag us all down with you?" He hurried over to help Zhang Chunlei up and asked with concern, "Mr. Zhang, are you okay?" Zhang Chunlei covered his cheek and spat out a mouthful of blood, in which there were actually 2 teeth. In an instant, an unstoppable rage rushed into my brain. Get lost. Zhang Chunlei was so angry that he pushed Ji Bajuan away. With red eyes, he roared and ordered, "Brothers, come at me. Kill him." All the strong men in black clothes, howling, surrounded Yi Tiance and rushed forward at the same time. Everyone thought that this would be a foregone conclusion. The reversal has occurred. Yi Tiance just raised his hand slightly, clenched his fist, and punched. It seems slow, but it is actually as fast as lightning. Bang bang bang. In less than 3 seconds, more than a dozen sturdy men in black were all knocked to the ground, and the tables, chairs and benches fell to the ground, making a mess. Yi Tiance was unharmed, and even his feet did not move. Everyone present was shocked and their eyes widened. Zhang Chunlei also looked incredulous. He quickly gritted his teeth and shouted to Feng Lei, "Brother Feng, quickly deal with him and kill him." Feng Lei pulled out the dagger and quickly stabbed Yi Tiance. Die. Just when the tip of the dagger was only an inch away from Yi Tiance. Yi Tiance grabbed his wrist and twisted it hard. With a click, Feng Lei screamed in pain. Yi Tiance ignored him and directly hit Feng Lei on the chin with a hook punch. Bang! The latter's eyes turned white and he fainted on the spot. At this moment, the entire Chamber of Commerce hall was silent. Everyone looked at Yi Tiance as if he were a ferocious beast, and felt a chill down their spine. Xiao Qingcheng opened her mouth slightly, her eyes full of disbelief. When did he become so skilled? A little further away, Han Ruiyan looked shocked. This bastard, is he so good at fighting? Farther away, Rong Meiyan's charming pupils shrank slightly. This man is quite interesting. As for Zhang Chunlei at this time, he was trembling all over and his face was pale. You have to know that Feng Lei is one of your uncle's most trusted confidants and is very skilled. He was defeated in just one move. Yi Tiance slowly walked to Zhang Chunlei, his eyes cold and said, "Now it's your turn, tell me, how do you want to die?" Zhang Chunlei shuddered with fear. He gritted his teeth and threatened, "Damn it. My uncle is Zhang Xiaohu, you dare to kill me. If he finds out, he will tear you to pieces." Yi Tiance sneered and said, "Even if I kill you, Zhang Xiaohu will only kneel and kowtow when he appears in front of me. After all, in the fallen city, Zhang Xiaohu is at the bottom of the food chain and is only fit to carry manure. In front of him, kneeling and kowtowing is an honor to Zhang Xiaohu." The next second, Yi Tiance was about to attack Zhang Chunlei. But Xiao Qingcheng stopped him. "Yi Tiance, that's enough. Stop making trouble." Yi Tiance frowned slightly. "Are you sure I'm the one making trouble? I'm helping you." Xiao Qingcheng bit her lip and said seriously, "I know, but Zhang Chunlei has a strong background. If you continue like this, you will only hurt yourself." "Forget it." Yi Tiance asked coldly. "So what did he do to you before, are you done with him?" Xiao Qingcheng lowered her head and said nothing. In the face of absolute strength, what does it matter if you don't count? Yi Tiance sighed and said, "Since it's your choice, whatever you want." He put his hands down. Zhang Chunlei wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, glared at Yi Tiance unwillingly and said, "Just you wait. I will definitely get my revenge tonight." Then the group of people left quickly and in a panic. Everyone present looked at the mess in the venue with a worried look on their faces. There are only 10 minutes left before the Chamber of Commerce starts, and it is too late to clean up. How should I explain this to Lord Long and that big shot when they see this scene? But at this moment, Ji Bajuan suddenly pointed at Yi Tiance and shouted, "The Chamber of Commerce's bidding tonight was organized by Lord Long, but you messed it up. You are such a fool. How dare you offend Lord Long? Kneel down." Chapter 21 Standing Against Everyone. Yi Tiance sneered, "Just now when Zhang Chunlei was making trouble, you didn't dare to say a word. Now that he's gone, you're showing off your abilities. Aren't you ashamed?" A hint of embarrassment flashed across Ji Bajuan's eyes. He pretended to be calm and explained, "What do you know? What I did just now was a temporary measure to delay time. Just wait for Lord Long and that important person to arrive and report everything truthfully, and they will deal with Zhang Chunlei. You, on the other hand, acted on your own initiative and made a mess, letting Zhang Chunlei escape and leaving a mess behind. How are we going to explain this to Lord Long? To that big shot?" These righteous words made the guests present echo. "That's right. If this he lets Zhang Chunlei go, Lord Long won't be able to see him and will only blame us for not doing our job well. That's right. If we offend that big shot again, we will all be blamed along with Yi. It's a rip-off." For a moment, complaints were heard everywhere in the meeting hall. Yi Tiance, who was a warrior in their eyes just a minute ago, has now become the culprit who disrupted the Chamber of Commerce. Yi Tiance looked at this group of clowns and sneered, "A bunch of cowards who dare not offend the Black Tiger Society and use me as a scapegoat. How ridiculous." He knew very well that none of the guests present wanted to take the blame. So they put the blame on him, the person who seemed to have the least background. Ji Bajuan said seriously, "Mr. Yi, don't talk nonsense. We are just helping Lord Long to relieve his worries, we don't have any selfish motives. If you kneel down and admit your mistake now, there might be some room for maneuver, otherwise, Lord Long will be furious and you will be torn to pieces. Why don't you kneel down now?" Yi Tiance took a step forward and said coldly, "You want me to kneel? You are not qualified enough." At this time, a man in a gray suit came forward. He put on a condescending attitude and said, "Young Master Ji is not qualified, so what about Lai Jingye, the chairman of my Ningyuan group?" Yi Tiance shook his head and said, "Not enough." Then, a man in a Zhongshan suit stepped forward and threatened, "Oh. Then what about me, Xie Bin, the chairman of Honda Group?" Yi Tiance sneered and said, "A bunch of rotten fish and shrimps, it's far from enough." Such an attitude shocked all the guests present. You should know that Ningyuan Group and Honda Group are both very influential in Zhongnan City. Their power is second only to the three major families. They can be regarded as the top existence in Jiangnan City. However, in Yi Tiance's eyes, these two chairmen plus Ji Bajuan are just rotten fish and shrimp. This kid is so arrogant. At this time, Xiao Qingcheng stepped forward quickly and shouted coldly, "Yi Tiance, that's enough. Shut up." Yi Tiance narrowed his eyes and asked, "Do you also think this is my fault?" Xiao Qingcheng certainly doesn't think so. But asking her to say it in front of so many people would be tantamount to slapping Ji Bajuan and the two chairmen in the face. Today, the Xiao family is at a critical period of rise, and they must not offend anyone. She reminded Yi Tiance, "Hurry up and leave, this Chamber of Commerce is not a place for you to stay." Yi Tiance said calmly, "Why should I leave? I did nothing wrong." Xiao Qingcheng said anxiously, "How can you be so ungrateful? When Lord Long and that important person arrive, how will you explain?" "I am helping you, don't you understand?" Yi Tiance said calmly, "I don't need anyone's help." Xiao Qingcheng was so angry that her chest rose and fell, and she said angrily, "If you don't want it, then don't want it. I don't want to care about you." Assistant Sun scolded, "Yi Tiance, if you want to die, then die. Don't drag down our President Xiao." Ji Bajuan saw all this and a sneer appeared on his lips. "I must get back at Yi Tiance for the humiliation I suffered at the hands of Zhang Chunlei before." He scolded, "Yi, you are causing trouble at the venue and making wild remarks. You can't run away even if you want to. Wait until you give up your life." In full view of everyone, Yi Tiance walked directly to the main table in the center of the venue. He picked up a chair and sat down with great confidence. He swept his cold eyes over the crowd and said, "I won't run away, and I'll just sit here. I want to see who here can make me give up my life." This action is tantamount to pushing everyone to the opposite side, giving a sense of one man standing alone against the enemy. A little further away, Han Ruian couldn't help biting his lips lightly. This bastard dares to offend anyone. Is he crazy? Farther away, Rong Meiyan held her chin with one hand, her eyes full of curiosity. She wanted to see what this interesting guy was trying to do. In contrast, the other guests in the venue were all over the place, unable to hold back and yelling, "Get off, you little brat. That position is reserved for Lord Long and the big shot behind him. How arrogant. You shall not die a good death. I've been in the business world of Jiangnan City for 30 years, and this is the first time I've encountered such an arrogant person. This guy must not be allowed to stay." Facing public condemnation, Yi Tiance was not at all alarmed and even crossed his legs. He said disdainfully, "A bunch of cowards who cringe at the mention of the Black Tiger Society. I really don't understand what the point of Zhao Heilong hosting a chamber of commerce and inviting a bunch of losers like you is." As soon as these words were spoken, the anger in the entire venue grew even more intense. If people weren't afraid of Yi Tiance's skills, I'm afraid someone would have rushed up and used violence. Seeing this scene, a hint of worry flashed in Xiao Qingcheng's eyes. She wanted to go over and persuade Yi Tiance to stand up and not to provoke everyone's anger anymore. But he was stopped by Ji Bajuan. "Qingcheng, this kid is courting death by going against all the dignitaries present here. Don't get yourself involved." Xiao Qingcheng said unhappily, "None of your business is my business." Ji Bajuan knew that she was angry about what happened before. He immediately explained, "The reason why I said that before was actually because I didn't want to escalate the conflict, ruin tonight's bidding meeting, and ruin your 10 billion order. Besides, I had already expected that Zhang Chunlei was just talking nonsense. He would not dare to bully you. After all, you were the winner chosen by that big shot. How could he change it? That's why I forbear Ed and didn't stand up for you." Assistant Sun also echoed, "Boss Xiao, I believe in young Master Ji. In the final analysis, this is all Yi Tiance's fault. If it weren't for him, young Master Ji's plan would have succeeded long ago." Xiao Qingcheng still didn't believe it and said, "But I don't understand why Yi Tiance dared to risk his life to save me." Ji Bajuan curled his lips and said, "How could he save you? He clearly holds a grudge against you for filing for divorce, and deliberately speaks nonsense and acts recklessly at the Chamber of Commerce. His real purpose is to destroy the Chamber of Commerce, prevent the Xiao family from winning the bid, and obtain the 10 billion order." Yi Tiance heard this explanation. "I had to shake my head and laugh. Ji Bajuan, sometimes I really can't tell whether you have a hole in your brain or a brilliant imagination. You can even come up with such a reason, amazing." Ji Bajuan said with a sullen face, "Every word I said is true. Not only me, but I believe that other guests present can see your mean heart." Lai Jingye, chairman of Ningyuan Group, nodded and said, "Everyone knows the villain's intentions." Xie Bin, chairman of Hongda Group, scolded, "You are using despicable means to destroy Mr. Xiao's 10 billion order. You deserve to be killed." The others followed suit and belittled Yi Tiance. Xiao Qingcheng took a deep breath and asked seriously, Yi Tiance, is this really the reason why you acted so recklessly tonight? Answer me. Yi Tiance laughed at himself and said, Xiao Qingcheng, you still say that I am doing wrong things until now. Then, even if I give you more answers, will you believe it? Xiao Qingcheng felt a slight pain in her heart. Assistant Sun said dissatisfiedly, Mr. Yi, are you blaming our President Xiao? If she hadn't fed you for free for 3 years, you would have been. Xiao Qingcheng raised her hand to interrupt Assistant Sun. She bit her lip and said seriously, can you please stop making trouble? For the sake of our marriage, as long as you agree to stand up and apologize to everyone present, I will find a way to speak for you in front of Lord Long, that big shot, and save your life. Tomorrow morning, after we get the divorce certificate, you and I will be separated forever. Chapter 22 It's you who should kneel. Yi Tiance shook his head and laughed at himself. Haha, what do you mean by husband and wife affection? In fact, I am just worried about whether you can win the bid, right? Xiao Qingcheng frowned. Explained. Yi Tiance, I actually. Ji Bajuan raised his hand to interrupt her. Qingcheng, you have also seen the nature of this ungrateful person. There is no need to help him. Besides, what he did tonight is unforgivable. No one can save him. Lai Jingye, chairman of Ningyuan Group, reminded, Mr. Xiao, the Xiao family is at a critical period of rise, don't let a little personal affection affect the overall situation. Xiao Qingcheng still hesitated. Quote. Assistant Sun then advised, Boss Xiao, this idiot tried every possible way to retaliate against you. All the consequences are his own fault. He doesn't deserve sympathy, let alone implicate the Xiao family. Xiao Qingcheng bit her lower lip, hesitated for a few seconds, and then nodded. Yes, I have devoted enough love to Yi Tiance. If he still refuses to change his ways, he has only himself to blame. Her attitude turned cold and she said, now that things have come to this, I will not persuade you anymore. No matter what happens to you next, it has nothing to do with our Xiao family. These words can be regarded as a complete demarcation between him and Yi Tiance. Yi Tiance lowered his eyes slightly, as if he had anticipated this result. So he responded calmly, that's the best. Seeing this, a hint of cunning appeared in Ji Bajuan's eyes. He turned to face the crowd and raised his voice, tonight, all the wise men have come to participate in the bidding conference held by Lord Long, but it was deliberately sabotaged by the thief Yi Tiance. This is a contempt for Lord Long and disrespect for that great man. Here, as the eldest son of the Zhongnanji family, I will call on you all to judge Yi Tiance's crimes together. When Lord Long arrives, you will all report his crimes in unison and make sure he dies tonight. Who is for? Who is against? Quote. It is obvious that Ji Bajuan wants to speak with one voice and put all the charges on Yi Tiance alone, in an attempt to put him to death. As soon as these words came out, the guests who were in cahoots with him expressed their support for Ji Bajuan's proposal. Yi Tiance must be sent to the guillotine. Although Xiao Qingcheng did not agree, she did not object either. However, at this moment, a discordant voice sounded. I object. Everyone looked over when they heard the sound. I saw a cold and arrogant woman about 1.7 meters tall and wearing a red dress slowly walking towards me. It turned out to be Han Ruiyan. Ji Bajuan frowned, his expression shocked. Xiao Qingcheng bit her lips tightly with a complicated expression. The other guests were also whispering to each other, not understanding what Han Ruiyan meant. Even Yi Tiance narrowed his eyes slightly, feeling quite surprised. Ji Bajuan asked in a deep voice, Ms. Han, I don't understand why you oppose my proposal. He is a gigolo who eats from the bowl and looks at the pot. Don't be fooled by him. Han Ruiyan said calmly, I don't care who Yi Tiance is, but he did nothing wrong in what happened tonight. You framed him. I can't stand it, so I oppose it. Deep down, she didn't like Yi Tiance and even felt a little disgusted with him. But 1 is 1, 2 is 2, and the facts are before us. Besides, no matter what, it was Yi Tiance who saved his life. There was no reason for her to stand by and watch. Ji Bajuan narrowed his eyes and asked, then according to Miss Han's opinion, how should we deal with Yi Tiance? Han Ruiyan replied, wait for Lord Long and that important person to arrive and report everything in detail, instead of just listening to your one-sided story. Hearing this, the guests present all looked a little unhappy. If they really did what Han Ruiyan said, Lord Long would definitely blame them for their poor performance instead of being dissatisfied with Yi Tiance. This is absolutely unacceptable to them. Ji Bajuan reminded in a cold voice, Miss Han, this he is against all the dignitaries present tonight. He is so arrogant that he is a drowned dog that everyone wants to beat. Are you sure you want to stand with him? Han Ruiyan didn't hesitate at all and simply nodded. Ji Bajuan snorted coldly. Miss Han, although you are the heir of the Han family, one of the three major families in Jiangnan, and your status is noble, but if you want to turn the tide by yourself, don't you think too much of us. As soon as this was said, the others echoed. If your father Han Tianzheng said this, we might think twice. But Miss Han, you are still a little naive. Miss Han, as an experienced person, I would like to remind you not to get involved in this mess. Once you are implicated, not only will the Han family not be able to protect you, but you will also be doomed to eternal damnation. Quote. Faced with the pressure from everyone, Han Ruiyan's cold and proud expression became solemn. She didn't expect that this group of people would be so united and determined to kill Yi Tiance. What should I do now? At this time, Yi Tiance said calmly, Miss Han, I appreciate your kindness. This farce was caused by me, and there is no need for you to get involved. Han Ruiyan frowned and said unhappily, since I see injustice, I must stand up. Do you think I am also a cowardly and foolish woman who can't tell right from wrong? Hearing this, Xiao Qingcheng's body trembled slightly. For some reason, she felt her face burning at this moment. Yi Tiance was a little surprised. He thought Han Ruiyan was a typical narcissistic, willful and arrogant young lady, but he didn't expect that she had such a strong sense of justice in her bones. He smiled at Han Ruiyan and said, you misunderstood. I didn't mean that. I just wanted to tell you that this mob can't do anything to me. You don't need anyone's help. As soon as these words were spoken, there was an uproar at the scene. This Yi Tiance is really too arrogant. Ji Bajuan said coldly, Miss Han, have you also seen the arrogance of this loser? He is courting death. If you insist on standing on his side, don't blame us for being ruthless. Han Ruiyan was hesitating when his cell phone suddenly rang. It was my father Han Tianzheng calling. Answer the phone. Han Tianzheng said in a serious and anxious tone. Union, I order you not to get involved in Yi Tiance's affairs, go home quickly. Han Ruiyan was stunned. It was obvious that someone had secretly informed her father of what was happening at the venue. Han Ruiyan hurriedly explained, Dad, it's not. Han Tianzheng immediately interrupted and said, I don't want to hear any explanation. Come back quickly. If you continue to insist on your own way, we will sever our father-daughter relationship. After saying that, Han Tianzheng hung up the phone directly. Han Ruiyan's eyes flickered with panic. This was the first time she saw her father so angry. It seems that the current situation is much more serious than I imagined. What should I do now? Yi Tiance said, Miss Han, this matter has nothing to do with you. You don't have to get involved. Just listen to your father and go back. Then you should be careful, I will find a way. Quote. Han Ruiyan pursed his lips and left the venue unwillingly. Ji Bajuan was very excited. Now that Han Ruiyan's stone has been removed, there will be no obstacles to the trial of Yi Tiance. He first looked at the time, then stepped forward and pointed at Yi Tiance. He said arrogantly, Mr. Yi, there are only 5 minutes left before Lord Long arrives. You don't have much time left. Why don't you kneel down and accept the trial immediately? Yi Tiance crossed his legs. He said calmly, you've made a mistake. To be precise, there are only 5 minutes left for you. You should kneel down and accept the trial. Chapter 23 Judgment. Hearing Yi Tiance's words, Ji Bajuan and the guests behind him burst into laughter. It is believed that Yi Tiance is talking nonsense and having wild ideas. Ji Bajuan took a step forward, put his hands behind his back and said arrogantly, I am Ji Bajuan, the eldest son of the Ji family. I would like to learn how you can make me kneel down and accept the trial. Lai Jingye also stepped forward, and said sarcastically, I, the chairman of Ningyuan Group, would also like to learn from you. Xie Bin followed and put his hands in his pockets, threateningly, I am the chairman of Hongda Group, and I also want to learn from you. After these 3 people stood up. The other guests also shouted and cheered from the back, and the sound in the venue was deafening. Assistant Sun shook his head helplessly and said, this idiot is really looking for death. Mr. Xiao, it's a good thing you broke off your relationship with him, otherwise you would have been dragged into a mess. Xiao Qingcheng bit her lip, stared at Yi Tiance and said, it's already this time, you insist on having your own way and refuse to kneel down and admit your mistakes, right? Yi Tiance said calmly, why? Xiao Qingcheng said angrily, everyone here tonight is someone you can never touch in your lifetime. If you kneel down and admit your mistakes, you might have a chance to survive, but why don't you bow your head? Yi Tiance shook his head and said, you are wrong. They are the ones who should fight for a chance of survival, not me. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone laughed at them again. I didn't take this sentence seriously at all. Xiao Qingcheng was completely disappointed and shook her head, saying, "Yi Tiance, what you did tonight was, after all, just to retaliate against me for filing for divorce. But the fact is, the result of my Xiao family winning the bid tonight and receiving a 10 billion order will not change, and I will not regret my decision to file for divorce." Hearing this, Yi Tiance sneered. "Huh? So confident. How do you know that the result will not change? Maybe the bidding will be cancelled tonight." Ji Bajuan sneered. "Mr. Yi, the Xiao family's bid was set by that big shot, how could it be easily changed?" Li Jingye scolded coldly. "This guy is a mad dog barking at the sun. Lord Long and that big shot are about to arrive. How can the bidding association cancel it so easily?" Xie Bin taunted. "I want to see how you can change the result of the bid. Cancel the bidding chamber." Yi Tiance stretched his body lazily and said casually, "Since you want to see it, I will satisfy you." He took out his cell phone. He dialed Zhao Heilong's phone number and gave the order directly. "I have 3 orders for you. First, the bidding will be cancelled tonight, so you don't have to come. Second, the winner of the 10 billion order will be reselected. Third, the Zhongnan family's Ji Bajuan, Ningyuan Group and Hongda Group's chairman's arrogant behavior will be tried, and all business cooperation between Tianlong Group and them will be cancelled, and they will be permanently blacklisted. Then, hang up the phone." Ji Bajuan almost laughed out loud. "Ouch. Mr. Yi, if I didn't know that you are actually a loser, I would have been fooled by your acting skills." Li Jingye laughed and said, "Haha, asking Tianlong Group to cancel cooperation with us. That's just wishful thinking." Xie Bin sneered. "You clown, struggling to your death." The rest of the guests were laughing constantly, and the whole venue was filled with a happy atmosphere. Xiao Qingcheng's face looked gloomy. "Yi Tiance, you are completely hopeless." In the distance, Rong Meiyan frowned. "Seems to be analyzing something." Bite. Just in time, it was 8 o'clock in the evening. Everyone in the venue stood still at the same time, looking towards the entrance of the venue, waiting with respectful expressions for Lord Long and the legendary big man to appear. Crake. The door to the venue slowly opened. Da da da. I saw a woman with a sexy figure wearing a red hip skirt and black stockings, walking in on high heels. This person is none other than the vice president of Tianlong Group, Xiao Qingcheng. When everyone saw that she was the only one who appeared, they looked at each other in confusion. That's not right. Why didn't Lord Long and that big shot come out? Ji Bajuan took the initiative to step forward, greeted respectfully and asked, "Hello, Mr. Qian, where is Mr. Long? Why didn't he come over?" Xiao Qingcheng glanced at him indifferently and did not reply, but walked straight to the front of the stage. Facing the crowd, he said with a serious expression, "I have come here on behalf of Lord Long to announce 3 things. Please listen carefully." Everyone present had different expressions. A vague bad thought emerged. Xiao Qingcheng raised a finger and said, "First of all, the bidding meeting tonight has been cancelled temporarily, and Master Long has already returned." There was an immediate uproar at the scene. What? Why was the Chamber of Commerce cancelled? Did Lord Long really say that? Why? I was hoping to make friends with that important person through this business meeting. Isn't that ruined now? Facing all the discussions, Xiao Qingcheng remained calm, raised his second finger and said, "The second thing is, the winning bidder for the 10 billion order will be reselected on a later date." Swish. Everyone's eyes instantly fell on Xiao Qingcheng. You know, 1 second ago, the winning bid belonged to Xiao Qingcheng. Now, it has suddenly changed to choosing a new date. For Xiao Qingcheng, this was like falling from heaven to hell in an instant. She turned pale and asked in disbelief, "Qian. Mr. Qian, why?" Xiao Qingcheng said coldly, "Long Yi's order, there is no reason." Xiao Qingcheng's body trembled violently, and she clenched her fists. She couldn't accept this result at all. Assistant Sun, who was standing by, opened his mouth wide, completely stunned. Xiao Qingcheng raised his third finger and said, "As for the third thing." Quote. She looked at Ji Bajuan, Li Jingye, and Xie Bin, and said in a cold tone, "By Lord Long's order, the 3 of you kneel down immediately and await trial." Ji Bajuan and the other 2 were stunned and looked at each other. Ji Bajuan asked in confusion, "What have the 3 of us done wrong? Why do we have to kneel down and await trial?" Xiao Qingcheng narrowed his eyes and said calmly, "Why? Do you want to disobey Lord Long's order?" Ji Bajuan and the other 2 shuddered suddenly. As everyone knows, Lord Long is a terrifying existence known as the King of Zhongnan, with connections everywhere. Just one sentence could make the 3 of them and their families behind them shattered into pieces in an instant. How dare I disobey his orders? So the 3 of them could only kneel down in public unwillingly. Awaiting Xiao Qingcheng's judgment, Xiao Qingcheng announced coldly, Ji Bajuan, Lai Jingye, and Xie Bin, the three of you have been grandstanding and stirring up trouble tonight. From today onwards, Tianlong Group will cancel all cooperation with you and permanently blacklist you. Take care of yourself. After saying this, Qian Qinian left the venue directly. And this third thing was naturally like a thunderclap, exploding in the minds of Ji Bajuan and the other two. You know, Long Group is the largest company in Jiangnan City. Jiangnan Ji family, Ningyuan Group and Hongda Group all have close cooperation with it. If the cooperation is cancelled and you are blacklisted, the losses will be immeasurable. If things go wrong, these three families will never be able to make a success in Jiangnan City. Lai Jingye and Xie Bin were the first to collapse. They shook their heads with dull eyes and said, "It's over. It's completely over. How could this happen?" Ji Bajuan slumped on the ground, trembling and mumbling, "Why is it like this, why on earth?" Suddenly, he seemed to think of something. He raised his head and slowly looked at Tiance, and asked in disbelief, "Did you really do all this?" Chapter 24 Desperate Xiao Qingcheng. Not only him, but everyone else present was also staring at Tiance. They suddenly thought that the three things that Mr. Qian announced on behalf of Mr. Long were exactly the three things that Tiance had just mentioned on the phone. To say this is a coincidence would be too much of a stretch. Then, there is only one possibility, his true identity. For a moment, the expressions of everyone present became horrified and frightened. Lai Jingye and Xie Bin were trembling all over, their hearts filled with regret and fear. If they had known that Tiance had such an identity and background, they would not have dared to target or suppress him even if they had 10 times the courage. As for Xiao Qingcheng, her expression was filled with disbelief. She bit her lip tightly and asked Tiance, "Did you really do all this? Did you also decide that I would win the bid?" Tiance replied calmly, "Haven't I already told you the answer?" Xiao Qingcheng's delicate body trembled, as if there was something stuck in her throat. So, Tiance is the big shot behind Lord Long. And she is the one who really plays the clown. Haha, how ironic. Thinking of this, Xiao Qingcheng, who had always been arrogant, couldn't help but stagger and almost fell. Fortunately, Assistant Sun held him up. Xiao Qingcheng choked up and said unwillingly, Am I really wrong?" Assistant Sun quickly advised, "Mr. Xiao, how could it be your fault? You must have been deceived by that loser. How could someone like him be that big shot? I don't believe it. There must be something wrong here." Xiao Qingcheng smiled bitterly and shook her head. She was also unwilling to believe that Tiance had a strong background, but how could she explain the scene that just happened before her eyes? But, at this moment, suddenly, countless strong men in black rushed in from the door, nearly 100 of them. Everyone was holding knives, sticks and other weapons, and they surrounded the entire venue. Then, a yellow-haired young man with swollen cheeks walked out with a vicious look on his face. It was Zhang Chunlei who had been beaten away by Tiance before. Everyone present was horrified. Why did this plague god come back again? Zhang Chunlei narrowed his eyes and glanced at everyone, then smiled sinisterly. "Are you surprised to see your surprised expressions? Haha, aren't we holding a bidding conference? Go ahead." Everyone present looked at each other in bewilderment. The Chamber of Commerce has been cancelled, so what's the point of continuing? Ji Bajuan suddenly thought of something at this time. He asked cautiously, "Master Zhang, is it you who actually asked Lord Long to cancel this Chamber of Commerce?" "What?" Zhang Chunlei was stunned and didn't understand what Ji Bajuan meant. Seeing that Zhang Chunlei did not answer, Ji Bajuan subconsciously thought that the other party agreed. Then he said suddenly, "I knew that only you have this ability. This matter has nothing to do with that rubbish Tiance." Lai Jingye asked in doubt, "Master Ji, what do you mean by this?" Ji Bajuan explained, "Don't you understand? Lord Long must have known that Tiance had offended young Master Zhang, and guessed that young Master Zhang would tell Lord Tiger. So he weighed the pros and cons and sent General Qian to announce those three things. His purpose was not to offend Lord Tiger." Everyone nodded in disgust. "That makes sense. Young Master Zhang just went back to seek help from Lord Tiger. Lord Tiger must have come forward, so Lord Long had to give him face. Yes, given Lord Tiger's personality, he won't allow others to get what he can't get. So Lord Long will simply cancel the bidding process, and the Xiao family's winning bid will be changed to a new selection. As for young Master Ji, Mr. Lai and Mr. Xie, they must have been disrespectful to young Master Zhang before. In order to avoid being implicated, Mr. Long chose to cut ties with them. That guy surnamed Yi must have guessed this would happen, so he called and pretended to be cool. He's really scheming. I was saying, how could a useless son-in-law who was kicked out by the Xiao family order Lord Long? Hearing everyone's discussions, Xiao Qingcheng's expression changed. She couldn't help but ask Zhang Chunlei, "Did you really do this?" Zhang Chunlei held his chin in his hand and thought. In fact, he just went back to ask for help and asked Zhang Xiaohu to contact Long Yi to announce 3 things. But now that everyone has determined that it is him, he will naturally not miss this opportunity to show off. So he nodded and replied with a lewd smile, "That's right. Are you scared by me and got wet?" Hee. This answer is completely confirmed. Xiao Qingcheng ignored Zhang Chunlei. Instead, he turned to look at Yi Tiance, his eyes full of disappointment, and said, "Yi Tiance, at a certain moment just now, I really thought you had become powerful enough to make Lord Long listen to you and make those who stepped on you regret bowing their heads. Haha, to be honest, I still feel a little relieved, at least to some extent. This means that the man I used to be with is not such a loser." Quote. She suddenly raised her voice and said, "But you disgust me right now. We've known each other since we were young and have been married for 3 years. I have never disgusted you as much as I do right now. I hate people who deceive me the most." Yi Tiance sitting on the chair. He lowered his eyes and said, "In the final analysis, you still don't believe me." Xiao Qingcheng sneered, "Haha. The facts are in front of us, who would believe you?" Yi Tiance shook his head. He knew no matter how he explained it, Xiao Qingcheng wouldn't believe herself either. Well, since they have already filed for divorce, he has no obligation to prove anything in front of her. At this time, Ji Bajuan quickly stepped forward and flattered Zhang Chunlei, "Young Master Zhang, you don't know that after you left, that guy surnamed Yi insulted you behind your back and even said that Lord Long announced that those 3 things were all ordered by him. This is simply a slap in your face. We must punish him." In Ji Bajuan's opinion, it was all Yi Tiance's fault that he lost so many people tonight. So he must be dealt with. Zhang Chunlei happens to be the knife that can be borrowed. Zhang Chunlei's face darkened. "Damn it, I came back this time just to teach that bastard a lesson." He took a step forward. Pointing at Yi Tiance, he ordered, "You bastard, why don't you kneel down and apologize to me? Cut off one of your hands, and I may let you go tonight." As soon as these words came out, everyone present changed their minds and stood on Zhang Chunlei's side, exerting various pressures on Yi Tiance. "Asshole, you still don't obey young Master Zhang's orders. Are you deaf? Mr. Yi, do you really think that you can be arrogant just because you know a little kung fu? The Black Tiger Society is a terrifying force with 3,000 brothers. A single spit from each of them can drown you." Facing pressure from everyone, Yi Tiance leaned back slightly, leaning on his chair, looking very relaxed. He said to Zhang Chunlei calmly, "I just let you live, but you are so anxious to come back and die." There was an uproar at the scene. "It's already this time, and you're still so arrogant. This is not only arrogance, but also greed." Zhang Chunlei's forehead was bulging with veins, and he gritted his teeth and said, "You bastard, you asked for this." He waved his hand and shouted, "Brothers, cut off all his limbs. Kill." Under command, nearly 100 Black Dragon Society fighters, armed with weapons, attacked Yi Tiance. Chapter 25, 3,000 Black Tiger brothers set out. The Black Tiger Society's thugs were all furious and wanted to chop Yi Tiance into pulp. The sudden scene scared Xiao Qingcheng so much that she instinctively covered her eyes. The others also expected that Yi Tiance would have to pay the price for his arrogant behavior. However, just as the thugs' attacks were about to fall on Yi Tiance, but I felt a flash before my eyes. Yi Tiance, who was originally sitting there, disappeared. Not only him, but even the chair he was sitting on disappeared out of thin air. "Where did you go?" When the thugs were confused, a familiar scream suddenly sounded behind them. Everyone quickly turned around to look. Zhang Chunlei was knocked to the ground. As for Yi Tiance, he had brought a chair and sat next to him, with his right foot firmly on Zhang Chunlei's head. It happened so fast that no one present could see clearly what happened in those 2 seconds. Everyone's expression was filled with shock. Including Xiao Qingcheng, everyone subconsciously breathed a sigh of relief when they saw that Yi Tiance was fine. The Black Tiger Society's thugs were angry and anxious at this moment, but they did not dare to step forward rashly. As for Zhang Chunlei, he didn't expect that even though he brought so many people here, they were unable to capture Yi Tiance, and instead he was captured first. He threatened loudly, "Damn it, take your feet away quickly, otherwise." Yi Tiance looked down at him. Not only did he not take his foot away, but he slightly increased his strength and asked, "What else?" "Ah, it hurts." Zhang Chunlei screamed in pain. He wanted to struggle free, but found that Yi Tiance's right foot was as steady as a rock, and no matter how hard he tried, it was useless. Everyone who saw this scene gasped and turned pale. If anything happens to Zhang Chunlei, the furious Tiger Lord will kill everyone present tonight. The facts are about to develop in the direction they worry about. Because at this time, Feng Lei, one of the two great King Kongs of the Black Tiger Society, had already called Lord Tiger for help. Ji Bajuan was so anxious that he shouted, "Mr. Yi, please release young Master Zhang. If you want to die, don't implicate us." Lai Jingye, Xie Bin and others also threatened Yi Tiance to release Zhang Chunlei. Yi Tiance narrowed his eyes and sneered, "You can let him go, who of you will come and lie down here for him?" Ji Bajuan and others looked at each other. How could they dare to do something that would risk their lives? Xiao Qingcheng frowned and said unhappily, "Yi Tiance, do you really have to drag everyone down with you tonight before you give up?" Yi Tiance said calmly, "If you insist on thinking so, I won't refute you. If you are afraid of falling into the water, just walk as far away as possible, after all, your legs are on your body." Xiao Qingcheng was choked. She didn't expect Yi Tiance to be so stubborn. I really don't know whether he is confident or wants to take revenge on her and has gone crazy. At this time, Feng Lei suddenly shouted, "Young Master Zhang, the news has been reported. Master Hu will personally lead all the brothers in the club and arrive in 10 minutes. Hearing this, Zhang Chunlei's face showed a hint of ecstasy, and he said fiercely, "Mr. Yi, did you hear that? My uncle is coming, ha ha ha. You are finished. Why don't you let go of your feet?" Yi Tiance increased his strength again. He laughed and said, "I've said before that Zhang Xiaohu can only kneel and kowtow in front of me, so just let him come." Zhang Chunlei screamed in pain like a pig being slaughtered. Seeing this, Feng Lei's face became extremely gloomy. He ordered, "Brothers, guard all the doors of the venue and wait for Master Hu to bring the brothers over. Before that, we must not let this kid surnamed Yi escape." Then, he said coldly to the guests present, "As for you, if you don't want to be covered in blood, just go back to where you came from." Each of the guests was terrified, fearing that they would be implicated. At this moment, they no longer cared about their image as powerful and wealthy people, and fled towards the exit of the venue. "I just hate that my parents didn't give me 2 more legs." Ji Bajuan quickly said to Xiao Qingcheng, "Let's go quickly, Lord Tiger is coming soon, someone is going to die tonight." Xiao Qingcheng looked at Yi Tiance. She bit her lower lip and replied, "You go, I want to stay here." Ji Bajuan glared and said, "Are you crazy? Zhang Chunlei has been targeting you. If you don't escape while the chaos is going on, do you know what the consequences will be if you stay here?" Xiao Qingcheng shook her head and said, "No matter what, the conflict with the Black Tiger Club tonight was caused by the Xiao family's bidding against him and them. I have to stay here and wait to give Master Tiger an explanation. Besides, since Zhang Chunlei has already targeted him, what's the point of running away? The monk can run away but the temple cannot." Seeing Xiao Qingcheng's resolute attitude, Ji Bajuan said helplessly, "Then you stay here, I'm leaving first." After Ji Bajuan left, Xiao Qingcheng ordered Assistant Sun, "You should leave too. What's happening here has nothing to do with you." Assistant Sun gritted his teeth and said, "Boss Xiao, take care. I will find a way after I get out." Then turn and run away. Soon, all the guests attending the conference tonight left the conference hall. Only Yi Tiance and Xiao Qingcheng were left. Wrong. At this time, there was Rong Meiyan sitting in the distance with a calm expression. Seeing this, a younger brother stepped forward, pointed in the direction of Rong Meiyan, and asked Feng Lei, "Brother Feng, what should we do with that woman?" Feng Lei frowned. On the surface, that woman looked very charming and could be considered the best. But the aura of a superior emanating from within is very oppressive. His intuition told him that the other party's identity was not simple. So he said coldly, "Don't worry about her. Wait until Master Tiger comes before making plans." Yes. At this time, a storm was sweeping across the entire Jiangnan city. The 10 nightclubs, 20 KTVs and 30 clubs under the Black Tiger Society all received the order at the same time. All brothers, holding weapons and driving cars, rushed to Genting Hotel from all directions. Every road in the city is filled with black convoys of cars speeding along. Pedestrians on the roadside were so scared that they avoided the scene and made various comments. "Oh my God, those are Lord Tiger's men. With so many people acting together, something big must have happened. Who on earth is so bold as to provoke the Black Tiger Society to this extent? 3,000 brothers from the Black Tiger Society are on the move. Jiangnan City is about to change." A black Rolls-Royce heading to Genting Hotel. Zhang Xiaohu, wearing a Zhongshan suit, was sitting in the back seat with a cigar in his mouth. With one hand he holds a beautiful woman with a charming figure, while the other hand keeps moving on her white and smooth thighs. At this moment, his expression was terribly cold. Ever since leaving the terrible, fallen city, that year. It's been a long time since anyone dared to take me seriously like this. He took a deep puff of his cigar and gritted his teeth. Xiao Lei, if you hold on a little longer, your uncle will make sure that those who bully you die without a burial place.